Thank you so much for taking the time to come out on this Friday, which is of course Valentine's Day. But we do have an awesome presenter for you tonight. We've just met her downstairs. I love her already, and I'm sure you will do as well. Of course, my name is Steve Foxall. Do we have anybody new in the room this evening? I think we're all existing Mannatech associates, aren't we? I think so. I think I know everybody here. Well, of course, my name is Steve Foxall. I'm the Business Development Manager for Mannatech Australasia, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce a lady tonight. And she actually used to be a legal attorney by profession and practiced tax and corporate law for many years. And it wasn't until 1998 when she saw a life-changing result to her father's condition after he consumed the Mannatech products. And it's then that she had a new calling. And she's never really looked back since. And since then, she's gone on to be one of the top income earners. She's been in the top 10 business builders, one of the Millionaire Club members, and her most cherished award was in 2007 when she won the Robbins Giving Spirit Award in the US. She loves to train and she loves to teach and has continued to have a long-standing call in the US for 13 years now, is that right? Every Monday she has a call, 13 years it's been going. She has a mission, she goes on a mission trip to Brazil every year. She really has got a heart as big as the United States. So ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure for us to please introduce Silver Presidential Merri Hillaker.
And it's a blessing to be here. Is it working? Working. It's a blessing to be here. Thank you so much. I thought the minute he said I was an attorney, I thought, I just blew my credibility. I call it a reformed attorney. How's that? Transformed, reformed, whatever. No. Thanks so much. And it's great being here, great being in Australia. I have visited Australia before. We were laughing at dinner or drinks or whatever we were doing downstairs. Because I used to date a guy. I almost got married to an Australian.
Boy, you were lucky, weren't you?
Pretty close, man. It was that close. Must have been an accent, right? Anyway, so I was here in 1983. Isn't that fun? Yeah, I went to Canberra, did all sorts of Hayman Island, and when I was driving in the car on the way from the airport, I have Sunday as my day off. They gave me a day of rest. And I said, now, I think I went to the Taronga Zoo, and he looked at me and goes, how do you remember that? I go, I don't know. Must be amber toast. No. Speaking of which, there's a new study that talked about memory. Did you get that one? Yeah, it just came out of Australia. So anyway, so it's going to be fun. I hope I remember a lot of the great things I did here, and I've always enjoyed the Aussies, that's for sure. And I sure love you guys at Manifest, so I hope you're all coming, because I always, when they go, Aussie, 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 oi, 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 I'm always yelling it, and everybody around me looks at me like, where? I said, I came that close to marrying one. So anyway, so tonight we're going to talk about, this is going to be a training session. I made up this, basically, when I was invited here, they gave me 6 topics, so guess what? I'm going to cover those 6 topics with you tonight. So hopefully a little more, a little less interactive. So if you have some questions, they want me to try to keep it to an hour and a half. I told them I could speak 2.5 hours on each one of the 6. So I'll condense it as best I can. So let's jump forward. Let me see if I got my clicker working. This is what I do back home. Lydia. How come you? Which way? Oh, it was off. Wait, did I start there? Okay. Go the wrong direction. Okay, so first thing, they already introduced me, but I just want to give you a little more insight. Of course, they know about my law school background. This is the picture of me and my dad. And this is the reason I'm in Mannatech. Because my dad had basically one of those conditions we don't make heal, cure, mitigate statements anymore. In a condition where he really had a very bad memory. Like none. Like he asked me 82 times, where are my keys? Okay. So anyway, so we noticed that in 1989, and I was a baby of the family, 4 kids. My parents had 4 kids, and I love my dad. You know, us girls, we always love our dads, right? So so I was going to fix it. And I researched and I came up with nothing. I knew all the drugs wouldn't work, so I just gave up on the pharmaceutical realm because there was nothing out there that would make any difference. And I went into the nutritional area and I came across glyconutrients. And then I went to the med school library and I researched glycobiology and glyconutritionals. And then I found a company that made one. So I called them up and I said, I'm gonna come visit you guys. I'm gonna fly, and it turned out they were 20 minutes from my house. So that made it a very cheap flight. So I got to go over and visit, and I talked to Dr. McAnally and Dr. Red McDaniel. And after I had a legal pad, that's what we always work on. Okay, so I had like 20 pages of questions, and I went through all of that with them. And at the end of that discussion, I looked at them and I said, you know what? You guys are just amazing to me that you've made this available to the population. And they both looked at us and they said, don't give us any credit, give God the credit. And I went, Christian doctors? I said, I worked in the legal area. I didn't find many there either. So I walked out of that knowing this was the right thing to do. And I started my dad on the products, and he had a remarkable. 8 months later, I got my dad back. I mean, it was, yeah. And here's another cute story. I know we're not here about stories, but this is a cute one too. So I'm in Arizona. That's where they retired, and I fly out there because I would do their tax return every year, just another excuse to go visit. So anyway, so I fly out there, and I was doing this, and I walked in the front door. My dad looked at me. He hadn't talked to me in 2.5 years. And he looked at me and he said, hi, Mary Jo. And I said, Mom, have you been practicing that? But he sat down and helped me do his tax return, talked about working at Alice Chalmers, and he that night he watched Apollo 13 with me. And he watched the entire movie. And he was rooting for the capsule to get back into the atmosphere. So I'm going crazy, of course, because I got my dad back. I mean, I got my dad back. I get on the phone with my husband, right? Because he didn't like to travel. So I get on the phone with my husband, calling back to Texas. I go, honey, you got to talk to Dad. I put my dad on the phone. I get back and I said, now will you take the products? And he goes, I don't have anything. So he just got him in his cream, spinach, mashed potatoes. One way or another, he was going to get it. But so that's really cool. So my dad's a big part of my life. That's why I'm in Mannatech. The other picture up here you're seeing is a picture of the greatness of what Mannatech provides for us. It gives us a lot of financial backing to do what we want to do. A lot of people will get up and they'll show you a brand new house and cars and all that kind of stuff. Well, this is what my life is. This is a picture of my nephew and my niece, and that's my nephew getting married. And there's a long story behind that. My brother was shot and killed by his wife. And horrible story, and I won't get into all that. But I raised these two kids from teenage years. And they had a lot of paths they could have taken in their lives, right? Losing both their mom and their dad, because mom's in prison. So anyway, so I dragged them all the way from California to Texas, raised them, and when David was going to get married a year ago in September, I thought to myself, what a crisis that she's going to have all her family there, and who's David got, right? So I flew 19 members of my family out to San Diego and rented a 7-bedroom house. And so that's just part of the joy of what Mannatech provides for you, the capacity to do those kind of things. And it meant all the world to this kid. I mean, just blew him away. And then the bottom one is my Brazilian church planning, because that's what I'm doing now. I made a commitment to build 12 churches in Brazil. I go to Brazil every July on a 2-week mission trip, and I made a commitment to build 12 churches. So if I don't get my business going, guess what? It's coming out of my retirement funds. So pray for my business so we can keep building churches there. So anyway, and those are just to give you an introduction. Who is Merri from Hillaker? Because I wasn't sure how many people knew me. For today's session, I just want everybody to start with the concept of being open to learn. I do this at the beginning because we walk into training sometimes with this know-it-all attitude, or I've heard this before, and I don't want you to shut out anything, because the reality is that we all are who we are based on our experiences we had in our life, and that's what's created us. And if we always come from listening based on those experiences, you're going to listen and you're going to go, do I agree or disagree? Does that make sense to you? When you hear somebody speak something, you go, do I agree with her or do I disagree? Okay, what's wrong with that method of listening?
You filter it
Well,
wrong way.
can you ever learn anything new?
No.
No, because you're either agreeing or you're disagreeing.
Yeah.
Do you follow me? So you're not open to change. And if I weren't open to change, I could never have done what I did in Mannatech. Because, when I first started doing Mannatech, I failed for 6 months. I was a lawyer. I didn't know anything about network marketing. No one ever approached me in my life. All of a sudden, God put me in this company, and I'm going, what? Okay, well, and the only thing, and I went to a training, and they said, Mary Jo, you got to speak from your heart. And I go, I only know how to carve people's hearts out. That's what we learned in law school. How to, pick them up. I said, I don't know. What do you mean talk from me? So I had to go through a major transformation. I had to erase my brain. And I believe every time that the exercise of doing that to me is I call beginner's mind. Start with the beginner's mind, meaning just pretend like you don't know anything and grab onto the concepts as if you are learning them for a first time. And that will help you add nuances to what you already know. Make some sense? So beginner's mind. So, and I love this quote. The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. Because the problem with just going and finding new landscapes is who's going to show up there? You. Everybody goes, well, I think I'll move to Florida because things will be better there. And I go, why? You're going to be there. You get it? It's about changing our eyes, looking at things differently. All right, so one of the topics is goal setting. So let's talk about that. How many of you here have set goals? Everybody, come on. Oh, come on. I know you guys are all good. And and a lot of the reasons we don't set goals is because we don't believe in them, or they didn't work last year, and they haven't worked for 22 years. Let me suggest to you this: that if you don't set goals, you're like a sailboat in the Sydney to Hobart race. Do I not know my Sydney stuff? Right? By the way, I saw it on Boxer Day. Is that what it's called? Boxer's a dog. Okay, boxing's a sport. On Boxing Day, I saw the Sydney to Hobart race. Went out back in 1983. Anyway, you're going to be like one of those sailboats in the Sydney Harbor with no rudder. Anyone sail? What happens when you don't have the rudder? You put in the water. Well, the wind just takes you wherever it goes, right? So goals are directional for us. We need to have goals. You need to set goals. And don't base it on what you didn't do before. Don't discount yourself. Goals are your directional. Critical to have. And I love this quote. We must all suffer from one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The difference in discipline weighs ounces while regret weighs tons. Everybody can. And that's a huge, because if you don't set goals and you don't discipline yourself, what's going to happen in your life? You're going to end up, well, I woulda, coulda, shoulda. In fact, write those 3 words down, woulda, coulda, shoulda, on your piece of paper, and then take your pen and draw a line through them because they're no longer in your vocabulary. Okay. They're like the worst words in the world. They're worst. No, there's one more word. Here's another lesson for you. Everybody stand up. Everybody stand up. Okay, everybody up? Okay, now I want everybody to try to sit down.
Try.
Why don't do it?
Do you don't?
Now, isn't it fascinating? But how many times in your life do you use the word try? It's pathetic. People call you up and go, oh, I'm having a party at my house next Friday, and you go, oh, I'll try to be there. You're lying. You're lying. You're not going to try. You just don't want to disappoint them. Oh, so you lie to them? Oh, that's really cool. You follow what we do. We use that word. It's an awful word. It's called commit. You're either committed or you're not. Just make a choice. Commit or not. If you were going to have a party and somebody just said, well, I'll try to get there, you know right away, boom, they're not coming. That's what you should say. But they insult you by saying that. That doesn't make you like them more when they say they're going to try to come and they don't show up. Okay, so get rid of that. You guys are going to have a whole vocabulary when I get out here too. Okay, great. Here's another one. Okay, this is a great one. Watch it. People are not lazy. They simply have impotent goals. That is, goals that don't inspire them. Because if you don't live your life around goals that inspire you, you're going to live a very uninspired existence. And that means you roll out of bed at noon, you make your first phone call maybe by Friday, and today's Monday. You get it? All of a sudden, the discipline is gone, there's no structure, because you're not inspired by your goals. Right? And goals don't have to, just so everybody knows, goals don't have to be, you don't have to have some big, largesse goal. You don't have to think about, oh, I'm going to have a house on Maui, or I'm going to have, When I first did this business and I got involved, I walked away from 6 figures in law and my business. Now, what do you think my goal was?
Replace.
Well, my husband said, do we need to buy a tent? Because I was the major breadwinner. So it was like really critical for me to figure out a way not to make my husband live in a tent, right? So I had an immediate goal that was pretty right smack there. But I loved it because I used to go to all the Mannatech events and I'd stand, they'd say income testimonials, and I'd get up and I'd walk on stage and I'd go, I used to make 6 figures and now I make about $500 a month. It's the most awesome thing I've ever done. And Ray Robbins and Kevin Robbins would go, why do we let her on stage? When the reality of it is, I think that's one of the greatest testimonies you could ever give. Because if something like Mannatech can attract somebody to walk away from 6 figures, are you kidding? Right? I mean, that to me is a trick. But they didn't quite see it my way. Okay. So we want to make sure our goals inspire us. They've got to be inspiring. And this is information, not just for all of you in the room, but as you are growing and bringing along new associates in your organization, you've got to be able to look at their goals that they write and be able to give them feedback when they are not hitting the ball out of the park. And of course, we've heard this one. Usually it's stated as success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal. You've heard that one 100 times too. All these are great quotes. I like to give them because I like people to get on track with. This isn't just Mary Jo's stuff. This is the world saying this to you. Okay, setting the stage. Before you even start doing goal setting, you've got to get this right. In fact, on your piece of paper, let me start a little chart, and it's going to be, you're going to have boxes coming up and down. And on top box, I want you to put the word values. Okay, and then draw a line down about 1 inch, and then draw a box and put vision. So your top one's values. Right underneath it, you got vision. And there's a line from the top to the next one, okay? And then you draw a line under vision, you put goals. And then under goals, you put another line and you put plan. And then you put another line and you put the last box is, what do you think the last box is? Is a plan any good if you don't take any? There you go. Correct. Action. Okay? So there you go. You got it. So the importance of this is to understand that, is setting goals enough? No. Can you set goals in a vacuum? No. I worked with a missionary one time and she said, well, Mary Jo, I really would like to have a house on Maui. And I go, really? Is that consistent with your values? And she looked at me and she goes, oh, I probably would feel really guilty if I spent that kind of money there. And I go, yeah, I think maybe. Maybe you ought to be building churches in Brazil with Mary Jo. But people can get carried away in a vacuum, and they do that. But that's why it's so important that you want to start out with questions to get people to start understanding what are my values, what's my vision in my life, my why, these kind of things. So I tell people to ask these kind of questions of themselves, and these are, you can find these in many different places, but they're just basically, you got to set the stage. You've got to know your values, you got to know your vision before you can set your goals. Or you're in a vacuum and they won't work. And that's why I believe so many people fail in their goals, because they don't set the stage. So these are critical things to work on, vision and why. If you want to do I train value exercises that take about an hour to do, where people walk out of the room, they cry, I hand out Kleenex. I mean, it's really incredible because people find out what really floats their boat. When I did the exercise myself, it was so incredibly impactful. But what it did is it established for me that my 3 most critical values in life, number 1 is, probably somebody in this room could guess it, contribution. When I am in contribution, like I stand before you today, right? In Australia, when I could be home with my 3 cats and my husband. Well, maybe I'll try to escape that. But anyway, I stand here today to support you. I am in my highest of highs when I can support other people. When I am in a realm of contribution, I am so bloody turned on. There's nothing that makes me happier. Isn't this incredible? And I didn't know that till I went through the value exercise. And my second one was the word called trust, because without trust, I had no relationship. Because really, if I can't trust you, how can I be in relationship with you, right? It's really kind of important. So all of a sudden, without contribution, I had no purpose of being. Without trust, I had no one to be with, right? And then the third thing was commitment, because without commitment, nothing ever gets done. So those came out to be, and wow, did that define me as a person. So from that, I was able to set my vision, my goal, and I'm just telling you, every one of us is different, made differently, but that was what structured me. And you know what, for my life, I now know. Every time somebody comes up, Mary Jo, what about this? Because I get approached by a zillion people and doing different things, but if it's not in alignment with my values, guess what? The word NO comes out. Isn't that great? And it's so cool because now I can be guided by that rudder that I've put in the water. That's called my guide. So it's important to go through that exercise and do it. Maybe I'll send some stuff out for you, Mandy, to do that in the future. It's just a fun exercise and it'll really help. Okay, basic rules for goal setting. They all must be personal, so don't try to set goals for your new business building. They have to buy into it. It has to be something they choose. Always start your goals with the word I. Because when people don't use I, what are they doing? They're hiding from it. It's no longer theirs. They're not claiming it. So now it doesn't matter if they make it or not. They've got to claim it. It has to be in the present tense. So don't say, if you go, I will be gold presidential by December 2015. What's wrong with that? What happens when you say, I will do something in the future? You'll try only. That word is no longer in your vocabulary. Okay. I will do something in the future. It puts it where? Out there. It's somewhere way out there. So what happens to your lifestyle? I had a gal one time, she gave me her goals, and she said, okay, Merri, work with me on your goals. And she gave me her goals. She says, I will read 12 books by December 2014. You can tell I just did this in January with her. And she said, she had something else that she was going to do by September, 30th or something. And she had all these, and I said, now, Karen, that's not really her name, I'm protecting the innocent. I said, Karen, I said, what is going to hold you back from hitting those goals? She goes, well, Rachel, I'm a terrible procrastinator. I said, isn't that funny how you write your goals? I said, I don't want you reading 12 books on December 30th. You get it? I said, now how can, and she backed up, she didn't even see it. It was screaming at you. People who tend to procrastinate, that's going to structure their goals just so they can procrastinate. They don't even see it, but it's bloody part of who they are. So you got to be careful on that. So if you're rewriting that goal for somebody, what would you say? I read one new book every month for the whole year 2014. Oh, no more procrastination. She might have to read it on February 28th, but it's got, you get it? Okay, so we watch that. Okay, present tense makes it present, it makes it real to you today so you can live it, breathe it, feel it, instead of putting it out there, because now you're detached from it. If it's a future tense, it's detachment. They have to be balanced. I tell people you want goals in many different areas. Don't just do Mannatech goals, because do you want to deal with a person who's balanced in your organization, or do you want to have somebody that's crazy? I've seen too many Mannatechers over the years that got divorced because they got so crazed over Mannatech, all of a sudden the husband didn't count. That should never happen. That's really so backwards, right? So you want to make sure they're balanced, and they must be in writing. Written goals, otherwise don't do them. Cat, what?
White paper, blue pen.
White paper, blue pen? Is that white paper, blue pen? Okay, here's how you build healthy leaders. These are just some of the categories I use when I have people set goals. And if they don't want to do all of them, I say, well, pick at least 5 of them. There's 7 of them there, but you can just look at personal, spiritual, career, income, educational, physical, social. I want people to work on all aspects of their life because I want a balanced human being. So that's the importance of it. Okay, goals need to be SMART. Have you guys heard of SMART? I did too, but it wasn't quite this. But this is the only picture Lydia could find on the internet, so she put it up there. I said, okay, the fourth one, R, I always had as risky, and this one says relevant. So we'll go over both. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, or timely. Okay, SMART. That's what SMART stands for. So let's walk through and just go through it. Specific, okay? I just put a couple up there of things that work and things that don't work. I'm a regional director with at least 2,000 GBB on or before BP4. That works. 100 right? It's specific. I have a better relationship with my wife. What's specific about that? I have a successful Mannatech business. What does that mean? You see, it can be interpreted 100 different ways. So that's not it might be great to have a better relationship with your wife. When people draft goals like this, what should be your next question?
What's wrong with it now?
What's wrong? No, you're not a marriage counselor. Your question should go like this. What kind of activities will it take, do you think, to have a better relationship with your wife? And they go, well, what do you guys answer to that? What's the number one thing that shows a lot more than anything else? Time. Yeah. Well, if I spent more time with her, well, what are you willing to commit to? Well, what if I did a date night once a week where it's just with my wife? I said, how many minutes on the date? You're like, I know these guys. And it can't be a movie. That's my husband. Honey, date night, what movie do you want to see? I said, wow, that allows for a lot of interaction. So, date night, at least 3 hours, just the two of us. Perfect. So now what does this goal look like? I have a date night once a week with my spouse beginning today for at least 3 hours, uninterrupted, just the two of us. You get it? You see the difference? Because the result will be what?
A better relationship with his
Or he'll get divorced because he'll find out who he married. No, I'm kidding. No, it'll be a better relationship. Or who she did, yeah. Okay, all right? So it's this great, just notice the difference. You can help people with that by just saying, well, what would this look like? Just like the next one, what would a successful Mannatech business look like to you? And they make them define it. Make them get specific. Why do people love to write stuff like this?
Because it's open-ended.
It's easy. At the end of the year, they can say, I took her out for a date once this year. That's better than the year before. I mean, it's crazy. They can hide behind these goals. They're worthless goals. Are these inspiring goals? No. Right. Okay, measurable. You got to make sure you put numbers. I'm making a lot of money by the end of 2014. My family spent some fun times together. Like what? Are you committed? How many times are you going to go on vacation this year? What are you committing to here? You get it? My relationship with the Lord is better in 2014. I love that one. People say that to me. I go, great. So you're going to pray one extra time this year. You follow? What are you going to do to improve your relationship with God this year? Well, I'm going to do Bible studies. How many? How long? I'm going to get up every morning and read. Okay, great. How long? How many minutes are you going to read the Bible? How much time are you going to be in prayer? You follow? Get specific. Get specific to make it have meat in it, that it really sets your goals. Attainable, you want to make sure you don't stand up and go, I just joined Mannatech, I'm going to be platinum presidential by the end of the year. Another story about Mary Jo. When I first joined Mannatech, of course, my upline was so ecstatic that she had me and she goes, oh my gosh, Mary Jo, you're going to be presidential by the end of the year, my first year in Mannatech. Well, about 3 months into it, 6 months into it, of course, I did not, I was a total failure. And then I started going like gangbusters, but I loved everybody. So I was doing meetings for all the people in Suzanne's downline, my cross line, everywhere. I'd have people say, Mary Jo, can you do a meeting? You want to do a training? Okay, I'll do a training. And she'd yell at me. And I'd go, but that's what I love to do. At the end of the year, I was making $4,000, $4,500 a month. Now, some of you would say, hey, that's really cool. But you know what? She told me, she set my goal of being presidential director by the end of my first year. And I actually virtually not quit, but almost quit Mannatech. I started doing something else and just kind of putzed with it. But that's why I tell people, don't set goals that are unrealistic because you don't know the impact it's going to have on that person. You may lose that person just because you built something way over their head. So make it reasonable. Relevant, risky. My dog has surgery this year. I like that one. That's really relevant or risky, neither of the above. Risky. I clean my garage out by the end of February. For some of you, that would be a risk, but I don't want to visit your garage. I buy a paper shredder by March 31st. I mean, this is what people do. They put stuff like this on their list. I said, goals are not a laundry list. It's not called a to-do list. These are inspirational, okay? I love this. I'm a regional director status. I reached regional director status on or before Manifest 2015. Way to get out there. Way to work that business. That's like, I think I'll share Mannatech once a month. Right? Okay. So everybody clear. Relevant, risky, get it out there. Really work on it. Push yourself. You want to make it risky. You want to make it feel, when you write your goal down, you want to go, whoa, that's going to really push me. Like when you commit to building 12 churches in Brazil. That's a little pushy, right? Like really pushy. Okay. And time bound, always have a time. Notice the dates. I become the first platinum from New Zealand. Well, that could be like 10 years from now. I shouldn't say that when I go to New Zealand, should I? Okay. Kiwis will throw me overboard. Okay, I received a Top Business Builder Award from Australia. When? Again, see, they want to have a date. Always have dates on, okay? Yeah. Okay, so everybody got it. SMART? Any questions about SMART goals? Everybody clear? This helped? Did somebody learn some things here? What was most important to you? Anyone? Specific was most important. Great. That's a tough one, isn't it? Sometimes we like to just stay in generalities because we're protected. What else? Anyone else? Something that hit home?
Just remind you about the values that you can't set your goals.
Unless they're consistent with the values. That's why you drew that little chart. That's a chart I love. I hand that out in all my trainings when I talk about goal setting. Gotta know the values. Gotta be clear. Because goals mean nothing. If they're inconsistent with your values, you'll never reach them. Never reach them.
That was the most important thing for me.
Good, great, good. All right, super. All right, the second thing we were going to talk about tonight, how am I doing on time? I have 5 minutes left. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, sharing the Mannatech story easily. All right, they asked me to talk about that. Well, here's my first question. What story? Right? Do we have a lot of stories? We have a story of products, whether it's youth. You don't have youth yet. I mean, I don't mean you guys aren't youthful. But you don't have my face yet. No. And I hear my face is all over Australia. Somebody said that. I know, as soon as Rodney put it on that navigate, I was dead duck. Okay. And I was never going to let anyone see those pictures. The ones before were so bad. And I said, Lydia, you're hiding those. You're burning those. But when the good ones came out, I said, I guess we better show them. There's such a dramatic difference. And I love the product. Okay, so we have the youth story. And what other story we have? The glyconutrient story. What about the new study that just came out? Everybody read it? I've already read it. I'm writing a Manna mail on it. Yeah, we have the new study that came out, which is terrific, which is from Talitha Best. So we have that study. So we have glyconutrient story. We got all the other products. We got a lot of stories, don't we? We have the story of the product. How about the mission? And by them. We can go out and tell that story. What about business? We have a great business opportunity. What about just talking to somebody about lifestyle? I'm curious. Do you really want to work for 45 years like your parents did and end up earning 20% in retirement of what you made? I'm curious. Are you interested in getting paid 20% of what your worth is?
Hell no.
Notice this, isn't it? I mean, so that, well, you're going to hear that, but they're so, lifestyle, you know, you talk about what do people want in their lives? What do you want? What do you really, if you could dream, what would you do? 10 years from now, where would you be if you didn't, and just build that lifestyle for them, right? You can say, that's a huge story. Now, the next question is, some or all of the above. How many in this room can honestly tell me that you go out and share the business? Honestly. Okay? Very few. Notice. And why is that true? You raised your hand and said you share the business. I want to hear from those who are not sharing the business. Why is it we're not sharing the business? Go ahead. Time. What do you mean time restriction?
What I choose to spend my time.
Oh, you're not sharing the business because you're not spending time. So you're not sharing the product either.
I am sharing it, but not to the extent I need to.
Oh, okay, that's a good admission. Great. So she said, my time constraints are such I'm not really sharing anything. But for those of you who are sharing products and not sharing business, why is that?
Possibly it hasn't worked for me. So
Oh, I love that story. And you know what? Because it hasn't worked for you, clearly it can't work for anyone else. That's why I'm a silver presidential and you're not. I'm sure glad I can trust you on your judgment. Are you getting this?
Yeah.
So I want everybody to write on their piece of paper, it has nothing to do with my success or lack thereof. Nothing. And it has nothing to do with my success or lack thereof. But if you don't share the business, you'll never be successful. Write that down too. Here's a great story. Anyone hear of Sarah Robbins? did anyone here ever hear of Sarah Robbins? She's a huge network marketer now. She's at every national convention of professional network marketers, and isn't she darling?
Yeah.
I mean, gorgeous. And she has a great story. She was like in Detroit. Somebody mentioned Detroit to me today. They understand that it's our largest city and gone bankrupt in the United States, right? She was a school teacher in Detroit, kindergarten teacher. And she thought, I don't have much longevity. This was like 7 years ago. I don't have much longevity in this job. And so she decided she had to go find something else. So someone got a hold of her to do network marketing. She started doing network marketing at the ripe age of about 25, 26. And she'd come home every night and she'd be crying because it was so miserable. I mean, she out there and she was doing a skincare product line called Rodan and something. I don't know what it is, but anyway. So she was doing the skincare line and she'd cry about it. And finally, and she'd done it for a couple of years. And she was doing well. I mean, she was making $1,000 a month or something, but it was like, come on. I mean, I got to support my family. I got to make $3,000 at least. And one of her mentors, what did the mentor tell her? You can struggle getting customers, but if you want the 6 figures, then you have to build a team. Write that down. You can struggle getting customers, but if you want to make 6 figures, you've got to build a team. And that's not a team of customers. It's a team of people who have a vision, people who want a better life. They have something greater out there they want to create. Whether it's a 12-car garage, or it's a brand new house, or we're building 12 churches in Brazil. There's no judgment on that. Everybody's different. We have different value systems. We want different things in our life, whatever it might be for you, right? By the way, I didn't start with 12 churches in Brazil. I know I've heard this said. You understand goals? And so what happens over time, when you hit a goal, what happens? You change it, now you get another one, and then you get another one, and then you get another one. And that's what's so much bloody fun about this, that you can just keep being driven by things that are consistent with your values that you know is possible, because anything's possible. And when you come from anything's possible, then you get to just be creative and think of whatever you want. But what did I need to do for me to be successful? Build a team. Well, Sarah Robbins said, okay, so this was resounding to her to hear this. So she said, I'm not sharing the products anymore. I'm going to go out and just share the business. And at 29, she was making 6 figures a month. Over $100,000 a month at 29 years old. Now, she looks like a little ditzy blonde to me, but I don't want to get into judgment about it. And I've met her, and she's just a little bit more than ditzy, okay? But the intriguing thing is that she did it. But she did it for one reason. She went out and said, I'm only finding business builders. I want to build a team. I want to find people who are like-minded, that want to go and earn some income, and to heck with the products. I wish I would have met her back then. I could have signed her with Mannatech. At least we had good products. She has this crazy skincare line. Anyway, all right. So does everybody get this in their head? I mean, just cast it aside. Cast your own success or failure out the window, instead of planting a stake in the ground saying, I want to fail. And start making the shift. Look for people and attract people who want a better life, that want to do the business. Okay, so that's it. Okay, facts tell, stories sell. How many of you have a story? Some of us had stories, some of us didn't have stories. When we used to be able to give live testimonials about what happened, I had the greatest story in the world. I mean, they would make videos of me. My goodness, everybody in the world knew about my story. My dad, because you probably heard it on CD too.
I heard it on CD.
They've done so much with my story, it's crazy, but it was everywhere. I mean, and then the downside of it is this, that everybody who had that condition called Mary Jo. So I got 1,000,001 phone calls of everybody who had that condition as well. But, you can, and that's not the story I'm talking about, because we don't tell stories like that anymore. But our stories are, you can have a story about, why you take the product. You can have if you don't have a story of your own, like you had some remarkable change in your health, and there's many compliant ways of saying that, just like remarkable change in my health. I used to have no energy. I mean, I was on the couch all the time. I had to quit my job, and somebody introduced me to glyconutritionals. And my gosh, I've got my life back. In fact, I feel better than I believe I felt when I was 20. Right? I mean, whatever story. My pastor's wife, she goes, Mary Jo, can you believe it? I've been on amber toast for like 7 years, and I've grown 2 inches. She's 54. We're not getting taller, are we? Isn't that cute, though? And she asked me, why is that happening? I go, well, let me think. Cellular communication, perhaps somehow you didn't have all your human growth hormones working for you, and the cellular communication caused more effective utilization of the human growth hormone, and you grew 2 inches. You were always supposed to be this height. I said, thank goodness you didn't start on it 30 years ago. You might be 6 feet tall. She's about 5'4" now or something. Yeah. But anyway, but if you don't have a story of your own, grab onto somebody else's story. Because a great network marketer, they said, one story is worth 10,000 facts. And what do we know about our society today? We don't have a chance to tell 10,000 facts. All right? So have a story. Have a story. I love, because people want to hear your personal stuff. They love that. Don't you love that when somebody comes to you and tells you a story? Yeah. Well, everybody else is the same way. Okay? Here's 2 basic premises that you need to know when you're out there sharing, because you want to know effective ways of sharing. And if you get this down, you'll be slam dunk brilliant at this business. Number 1 is this is a need fulfillment business. What does that mean? Yeah, if you have them, who am I talking about though? Here, we're talking about sharing. We're talking about prospecting. We're talking about meeting people. So when you meet somebody, what are your Sherlock Holmes? You get it? And what does Sherlock Holmes do? Does he go, blah, 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 blah? No. Sherlock Holmes looks at you and he goes, and he asks a question. So how critical it is for us to ask questions. Yeah, isn't that great? I love that. I taught my little kids that when I was teaching melody makers, I said, why do you think God gave you 2 ears and only 1 mouth? Because you're supposed to listen 2 times as much as you talk. And they looked at me with these big eyes, you know? They probably bought into that one. Anyway, who am I to tell them why God gave us 2 ears? It sounds good anyway. But the idea is here that we want to be out there asking questions, and we want to be great listeners. Because we want to hear from people. Because some people say, well, Mary Jo, how do I know what I'm going to share with somebody? How do I know what story to tell? And I'm telling you, it's not up to you if you do the right kind of prospecting. Do you understand? Everybody has a need. And if you can find out what the need is, you can prospect accordingly. But I can guarantee you one thing. I haven't met anyone on the face of the earth that didn't want to make extra money. Does that make sense? Anyone, okay, everybody in this room who doesn't want to make any extra money, raise your hand. How many people are raising their hand? Everybody notice? Not one hand. So the idea is that if you approach business from a business perspective of creating a better lifestyle, getting something but the important thing about lifestyle and getting something they want in their life is I'd rather talk to a guy, hey John, how are you? Great meeting you. Did you just move here lately? Great. Your family here too? Super, what's going on? And just start asking about his life. And, you know, do you have a job? Where are you working? And then he starts telling me stories and he goes, well, I just lost my job, Mary Jo. I said, oh man, tough break. You lost your job. I said, what, do you mean through that recession we had? He goes, yeah, and he says, and what really killed us is, he says, we had to start digging into my kids' college education funds, and it's really disturbed me. I says, wow, so now notice I didn't jump all over that. Some of you would have gone, oh my gosh, that's the greatest thing on the face of the earth. You gotta go over and see it. We can replace it in 5 minutes or less. Yeah, right. This guy really is gonna appreciate that. So what I say instead is I go, John, what are your plans? How are you gonna correct that? I mean, what do you have in the and he goes, Mary Jo, I'm really at a loss. I really have been looking at different things, and there's some jobs out there that don't have enough money. And I said, well, listen, John, I think I might have an answer for you. I said, I have this great opportunity that I've been working on, and it might be just the perfect answer for you. So if you're interested, let's get together and let's share. Isn't that cool? So now, does that sound like somebody that's network marketing? No. It sounds like I let him do his all spiel. I found out what his plans were for it instead of jumping all over it. And I said, and that's what I would do because I found out his need. So now when I call John, I say, we plan a time to get together. So when I sit down with John and I talk to him about the great opportunity Mannatech has, what do I get to keep bringing up in the conversation? his need to rebuild his children's college education. Because I know what's breaking his heart. And if you don't find the need, you're going to be blah, 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 blah. That's why we talk so much. They go, well, Mary, I don't know what to say. I said, yeah, because you didn't listen to the person to find out what was important to them. When you find out what's important to them, we're a need fulfillment business. If you can show you can fulfill their need, they'll follow you anywhere. But it takes good ears and good questions. So skills we need to learn. How to ask good questions and how to listen. If you want to get a good book on how to ask good questions, Michael Oliver, The Art of Natural Selling, I believe. Is that here? Anyone heard of that book? The Art of Natural Selling? It's a great book. Amazon, perfect. Amazon. Great. It's a great book. He goes through, the whole book's about that, and it's a great book. Okay, second thing, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. This is another blah, 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 blah. Have you ever, oh my gosh, and they used to have these blue balls on the cell surface and all these cellular communication that goes like this and works like this, and the people, do you ever see somebody glaze over? Whenever you see somebody glaze over when you're talking, I want you to do this. I want you to say, I am so sorry, can we start over? They'll appreciate that, because they're not listening to you anyway. So what you want to do is just start over and say, let's talk about you. What's going on for you? Yeah, this is a great breakthrough science. That's terrific. I'll send you some information that if you want some more information on to learn a little bit more. But I really want to talk about the possible impact for you. So let's talk about what a difference it might make in your life, right? You got it? Isn't that a great way to talk to people? Now all of a sudden they go, wow, she cares about me. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So this is a business about building relationships. If you don't like people, this probably isn't the best place for you. You get it? Isn't that true? You don't have to be like Mary Jo, you know what they did to me in church? This is so funny. In church, do you ever have it in church service where they tell you to go out and you shake people's hands and you say hi to everyone? Well, I literally shook everybody's hand in the whole church. So halfway through the sermon, I was getting back to my seat. And the pastor, everybody in the church loved Mary Jo. I would ask, can I pray for you about, what's going on? I love and hug on every person, right? Hugs. Because I love that. I'm like a hug buddy. Okay, but the pastor didn't really appreciate it because he was out there trying to preach and I was interrupting. I wasn't really interrupting. I was probably interrupting that one person. And then they didn't hear the choir music because I was hugging people during the choir singing. And I go, what do you think? People want to get hugged and loved on? Or do you think they want to make sure they hear the one verse out of the choir song? Is that more important than a hug? I don't know. In my book, when you hug and love on somebody, that's much more important. But so they stuck me in the choir. Okay. So then I had to sing in the choir. And then, okay. So before choir starts, I go and hug everybody in the pews. I just have to do it a little faster. But the idea is that's what you don't have to. I bring that up just because you don't have to have that effervescence about you. All you need to do is just know that you want to build a relationship with somebody. So you want to find out more about them. And that's hard because sometimes we don't want to find out. Can I tell you what converted me? Because remember, I was a lawyer. I just ripped people's hearts out for years. That's how I was trained. It's like a tack dog. Right? I still do it too, so don't cross me wrong. Okay. But how do you convert from that into loving on people? Any people. My biggest leg in my organization came from a guy at Office Depot when I was getting some papers copied. Get it? I don't know where I'm going to come across him. Do you think I knew him? I had no idea. He looked like he just crawled from under a rock. But that was my biggest leg. But the idea is that how do you convert from that to the love bunny style? And this is what I learned. And maybe it'll be a lesson for all of you. That each one of us in this room, who we are today is based on what? What you've learned, and what you've learned comes from where were you born, who were your parents, what schools did you go to? Did you have any siblings, or did you have lots of siblings? Did you have a bunch of dogs and cats? Did your parents take you on vacation different places? Did you go to college? Did you not go to college? What kind of jobs did you have? What experience did you get divorced? Did you have 3 kids or 5? You follow me? All of these experience, you are an aggregation of all the experiences in your life, right?
God help solely.
You see, and so if he's an aggregate, and his belief systems and who he is based on all the experiences in his life, does he not have something to offer me? Because I can never live his life. The life I've lived is totally different. So what I've become and what things I've believed in and things I cherish in my life are totally different than his life. So when I learn that lesson about people, all of a sudden everybody I look at everybody as if they're a rose and I go, wow, I could learn something from this person. Does that give you some idea? So it just makes it so much more fun to live this world, because now you can just look around and go, wow, what can I learn? Just like the guy in the car today who picked me up at the airport. I was like, weird, like I could have probably signed him up if I would have gone that direction. But anyway, but we had this great conversation. I said, where are you from? Are you from Australia? He goes, no, I was in England. I go, when did you come over here? He goes, well, about 30 years ago. I said, oh, so you were with those criminals. So we had we had this great conversation. It was just, but it's so much fun. And this guy, you know what he did? Listen to what he did. Now tell me I didn't have an impact on him. We had so much fun. He got to the hotel, and he's getting my bags out. He says, well, I was asking about the exchange rate between Aussie dollars and U.S. And anyway, he's telling me all this stuff. He goes, don't you have any Aussie dollars? And I said, no, I just have, I just have gringo dollars. And he gets my baggage out, and he takes me over to the hotel door, and he goes, here, you're going to need some, you can't go in there without. And he gave me $50.
Wow.
Now, do people just do that?
Check it first.
I mean, but they do it. Why do people do that? Because you left such an impression on them, and you showed your heart. You follow me? So that's a cool thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a neat thing. But that's your goal, is to set yourself up to say, every person that walks in your presence, wow, what do they have to offer me? And that's how you go, wow, what do they have to offer me? What can I learn from them? Isn't that fun? It makes life a lot more fun. I can tell you that.
$50 a time, yeah.
$50 a head. I'm going to go and take about 17 cab rides. Then we'll have a party tomorrow night. No. Okay. Okay, 2 basic principles. Okay, 4-step process, skills to develop. Okay, so when you're you're meeting somebody, because we have presentations that are done many different ways. One is just a wide open marketplace when you just meet somebody. Okay, so if you talk about it, the first thing you do is you try to build rapport, right? You're going to build rapport, break the ice with somebody. So you got to, and how do they tell you to build rapport in network marketing? Form. F-O-R-M. Okay? And how long does it take to go through all that? Oh, how's your family? Well, you just saw me do it over here. But, right, how's your family? Occupation, blah, 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 right? A lot of stuff. That's breaking the ice, right? But then you build rapport, so you find some similarity or something you can latch onto as some information. Then you got to somehow transition it into Mannatech, right? So you need a transition kind of process there. How do I bring that in? All right? And then you do what? The third step? A presentation. And then the fourth one is closing. Everybody agree these are kind of like the 4 steps, right? Break the ice, or what we call building the rapport. Transition to Mannatech, some way, shape, form, do a presentation, and then close them. Anyone here of Big Al Schreider? Somebody raise their hand. Okay, Big Al Schreider is a multimillionaire who got network marketing. He taught Jet. He was 40 years old when Jet was 18 and made Jet a millionaire in this insurance business, right? In insurance networking, right? MLM with insurance. Well, Big Al Schreider, he's like a multimillionaire, and all he loves to do is go train. So I went to one of his trainings a few months back, and he goes, okay, those 4 things: build rapport, break the ice, and then transition to your company. Then you do the presentation, then you close. Does everybody agree those are the 4 steps? And they go, yeah. And does everybody agree that's the order? And everybody went, yeah. And he goes, wrong. Break the ice. We all agree building rapport, right? That's first. Build rapport. Transition to Mannatech, right? Of course, he didn't use Mannatech in his talk. Close. And some of you are going, how do you close somebody without doing a presentation? Is that intriguing to you?
That was the presentation.
Is that intriguing to you? And then fourth is presentation if you have to. Does that sound intriguing to you? It wiped my brain out. I'm listening to this and I'm going, oh, give me a break. And he said, see, the problem is you guys want to talk, you want to go blah, 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 blah. I think I have a blah, blah. Do I have, nope, I don't have a blah, blah slide, not yet. Anyway, we want to talk so much that we can't wait to get into the presentations. We can talk, and we just dump on people. And the problem is what? We are information overload society. Some people say everybody's ADD today. I said, no, I don't think it's ADD. I think the problem is we have millions of bits of information that hit us every moment. So if you try to hold somebody's attention too long, there's too much information. We're on this phenomenal information highway where everything's bombarding us every 5 minutes. It's craziness. So the idea is, here's the concept. Al Schreiter studied psychology for like 20 years. He just delved himself and he says there's got to be a better way, and he just studied and studied and studied. And you know what he said? He said, the average person makes a decision on zero information. And how do all of you know that's true? Because you've done it yourself. But here's another reason you know it's true. How many of you have invited people to come to a meeting and they didn't come? What did they make their decision on? On no information. And the people that did come, made their decision to come, they were already in. The only thing you could do is screw it up. You get this? Really? Our brains are function that way. It's hard to believe that your brain functions on no one, but we want to make decisions on no information. Information clutters it. We make our decisions from our subconscious level. It's made almost instantly. Somebody says something and it's made like that. They don't need any more information. That's why it's so hard for you to reel somebody back in and they say, oh, and you spend 6 months sending them more information until they're really, they didn't want to make a decision on any information and you're giving them more. You follow what happens. Unless, of course, you come across an analyst. Do we know personality quadrants in here? Those are the guys like my husband. I go, honey, let's go do this. He goes, no. He says no to everything. And it doesn't mean no, it just means I don't have enough information. And then a week later, he'll come back, he goes, honey, remember when you mentioned this? I think that's a good idea. I said, I'm already 3 years past that. I don't even remember the conversation. I don't have time to mess around. I'm the opposite end of the spectrum. I'll make 1,000 decisions because I don't care if they're wrong or right. It doesn't matter because if they're wrong, it's just make a new one. I don't mind making a mistake. It's just a learning process. But to sit back and wait, to me, it's like, thank goodness I went through the personality quadrant analysis. I would have divorced him years ago. I mean, I get it. Okay. But the idea is that we want to go out there and do all this presentation stuff, all this information stuff, all this stuff, data, when people don't want it. So the idea is, if we break the ice, if we build rapport. Now, building rapport with form takes you how long? 10 minutes, 20 minutes, I don't know what it is, but it takes a lot of time. And what do we don't have today? Time, right? And that's what Al Schreiter, he says, you don't have time. People don't want to spend a lot of time. He says, transition to magic, when you transition your thing, he says, that takes you X, Y, Z. Then you think you have to do a presentation. That may be 2 more meetings, 3 more days. And then you try to close the guy after all that. And you've already given him 10 times more than he wants. So, here's Al's concept. He studied languaging and how the brain functions. And he said, instead of form, and instead of using FORM, family, occupation, recreation, motivation, he says, if you just start a sentence with, I am just curious, you will always build rapport in about 5 seconds. Because the words, I am just curious. Remember when I used those earlier tonight? And I said, I'm just curious. Would you really like to work 45 years and end up with 20% of your pay in retirement? Notice, she's already interested. I've already built the rapport. I'm just curious. You have beautiful skin. Would you like to have beautiful skin the rest of your life? Look at this. Can you think about that? I'm just curious. Are you committed to your own health and the health of your family? You get it? Because curious, I'm just curious. What's the first thing that goes through your mind when you hear somebody say, I'm just curious? You want to try to help solve the problem. You're wondering yourself. It causes you to be curious. So you're drawn in the conversation like instantly. So you can use this clause, put anything you want after it. You can use different languages, practice with it, have fun with it. I'm just curious. Okay, so now I built a rapport. It took me how long for me to build a rapport with you? About that, if you timed me, it would have been 2.5 seconds, maybe 3. A lot better than family, occupation, recreation, motivation, right? Okay, so here's the second thing. So now I've got to move forward with the Mannatech, right? So hear what I say here. Let's say about the youth, I could say, I just found out about a brand new product, appropriately called youth, that the worldwide giant in skincare, L'Oreal, are you familiar with them? They're calling this technology the holy grail of anti-aging. Okay, how long did that take? Another 5 seconds? I just did the product presentation. Okay? And she goes, wow. See? Now I got her, wow, and she's got a holy grail of anti-aging, a product called youth, and now I get to close her. Would it be okay if I got you started on this skincare product and you use it for a couple months to see if you enjoy it? With the company's money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose. Okay. She goes, okay, yeah. Huh! You guys, I didn't even know who she was, and I just showed you how to close a person, build rapport, do the presentation, close a person, transition Mannatech, because I never did a presentation, and close her in less than 30 seconds. Is that cool? Do you think you can do that? Try it. Just go have fun with it. You have nothing to lose. But I'm going to tell you to practice the language you put after those clauses. So that, okay, now, so you have it practiced so it doesn't garble up and you don't act awkward with it. You're going to have to throw some words behind it. But it was a blast. When I took this class and then I went out and I started doing it, it was fun as all get out. And I'm not kidding you. I think in the first week, I probably used it 10 times and we closed 3 of the people. That's a good high percentage, isn't it? Especially, and what was my time commitment to them? 30 seconds? Have fun with it. Just go and have fun. And you can do it on any topic you want. The only thing I found that I couldn't do is I had a hard time with the business part of it. Because, I could get them that you were curious about not wanting to spend 45 years. I got that part. And I said, I found out about this great opportunity that gives you absolutely unlimited income. And it's so much fun to be a part of a team that works together. Would it be okay if you came in as a champion all-star? See, I couldn't get people to invest $500 in the U.S. That's what our all-star pack is. It was more, so I said, would it be okay if we got together next week and talked about what this could mean for you? So that's what I started doing. Isn't that cool? Because I think if you're going to bring in a brand new business builder, you're going to have to spend a little bit more time with them. But I can get anyone on youth in this one. Anyone. And I can get people started on Nutriveris on this one. I can't get into the glyconutrient story real well, but I can. You follow me? Something simple, easy, something like that. But very easy to do, right? You like it? Fun, huh? And it teaches you that it can be that simple. But Al Schreiber will tell you, do not change one of those words. Every single one of them is critical. Absolutely critical. Exactly how it's said. Now, what if somebody says to you after you do that, and they go, well, when I said, would it be all right if I get you started on youth? And she goes, well, I think I need more information. I go, here's the language, exactly this way. What information would you like first? Exactly that answer. What information would you like first? Because now this is great for all of you to use this no matter what, because you know what? You're out there and you're just going, they say, I'd like to get some more information. You go, great. You get home and you go, I wonder what I should send them. See, you never asked them what they wanted. They just said they wanted more information. And because you have so many gobs of it, especially, everywhere, Navigate's got a zillion things in it, right? You could send them a zillion things. And by the way, never send more than 2 things. Maybe 3 on if it's an analyst. But again, information drowning. information drowned, right? Don't drown your people with information. All right, so anyway, so back to her. So she says, so I ask her, what information would you like first? And she might say, well, I'd like to know a little bit more about the company. And I say, well, the company's a 20-year-old company called Mannatech, and they have a entire glycan technology behind their health products as well. So they're entrenched in this technology. What would you, and see, I just answered in one sentence. I didn't go on and on and on. See, in one sentence. And I go, what would you like to know next? And you just, and see, I didn't ask her to ask another question. I just said, what would you like to know next? And do you know the average person can only come up with 2 questions? Did you know that? Al Schreider knows it. It's our psychology. So by the time she probably would say, well, yeah, that's fine. Okay, great. I just wanted to make sure it was an established company. And you go, yeah, right. You just want to defer your decision another minute because you are not happy about making a decision in 30 seconds. You got it? Okay. So does everybody get that? Fun? And once you got them started, then you build a relationship with it. I just threw this in there as a training because I loved it so much and I had fun with it. And you can choose it or not. You can, but it's just a kind of a fun, different way to do it. Oh, there's my slide. Blah, 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 blah. That's what we look like. We're just out there giving people way too much information that they could care less about ever getting, right? Do you ever find that true? Let me call up some of your prospects and I'll have them interviewed to find out what they thought about all that you dumped on them, okay? Absolutely. And it's a sadness in my heart because I find that relatively new people that have been doing the business for a shorter period, they love the information so much that they just want to just give them everything. And I go, you know what? People can make a decision to do this business in 30 seconds. They can make a decision to use youth in 30 seconds. They can make a decision to get their family on Nutravirus in 30 seconds. And if it really can take 30 seconds, why are we spending 6 weeks? Right? You get it? Just start looking at it from that perspective, because really, the reality is, most people want to spend about 30 seconds on that decision. Now, doing the business is a different step, but all of the consumption is it. All right, we talk too much. How to present. Okay, kind of in the United States, this is what we're using today. I don't know how many of you have seen it. I just brought it to show you. We have a 3-piece thing, like if I make an appointment for somebody, this is for a business builder that I'm going to be going after. And we have 3 documents that we use. I actually brought some. So it looks like this. One of them looks just like the document you have in your file. But this is our document we use. We talk about the mission, M5M. It rolls right into what's a social entrepreneur, who's Mannatech, our glycobiology. We have a whole line of products centered around glyco, and you have 3 choices, right? So you can pick one of those 3 choices, and then I go like this, and I turn it over, and I make sure that this picture shows up. Right? You want to make sure they see that picture. That's a really important picture for them to see. Okay, so you go, so what do you think? Would you like to, do you see yourself, this is why I love this language, ready? Do you see yourself as a consumer, or did you like to champion the cause? Notice just how I even say those words. What does somebody say to me? They look at me and they go, champion the cause. Here's the $50 of Australian money. Who you are in your heart carries the show. You get it? It's part of, that's what attracts people. You got to show that heart. Would you like to be a consumer or join me in championing this cause? Okay, great. And they go, wow, I champion the cause. And then we go to the next piece. And then I transition to this piece. You guys have one that looks like just like this, I think. You got these little funny green men all over it, right? You got that one? I think it's in your Australian materials. Lydia, my assistant, downloaded about 80 pages of Australian material. I said, are you kidding me? I'm sleeping on the plane, sorry. Okay. Anyway, but, so this is a great piece, but it's how to build a sustainable team, and it tells them how they make money in the thing. It's very important for you to understand this. So all you people who don't show the business, learn this. Force yourself. Learn this. Talk about it with confidence. It doesn't matter if you've never earned any of it. You talk about it as if you've earned it 1,000 times, because you got it down pat. And if they ask you, well, where are you on the spectrum? And you go, you know what? I'm getting very serious about my business, and I'm going to be there by the end of this year. Because that's a goal Mary Jo had me set when she came and told from the United States. So, okay, whatever it is. Okay, but I mean, you can be confident, show confidence. Don't be ashamed. There's no place for shame. Have confidence. You know you can do it. There may be things that happen that cause you not to do it, but it's right there. It's right for the taking. You didn't have Mary Jo's training yet. Okay, good. Now you can walk out of the room now. You guys are going to walk out early because you're going, oh my gosh, she's going to expect me. No, I want you all to get, trust me, I would love nothing more than to see all of you as presidentials in the next 12 months, right? Mandy agrees with me 1,000%. And do I believe each one of you can do it? Absolutely. Absolutely. It starts with belief on your part. You got to have belief. And then you just got to, what? Values, remember? Vision, goals, plan, action. There. All right, so this is a fun thing to go with you. Before I bring up the sheet, though, whenever you talk to people about money, what I always start with this. I say, I have a couple questions for you before I go over this. I said, if you decide, in deciding to get involved with us, are you looking for just some additional income, or would you like to replace the income you're making in your current job, or are you looking to go even further than that? You want to know. See, this is a discovery time. Why am I doing discovery?
Because you're gonna meet the needs.
Because I'm going to use the information I collect later on in the conversation. If I don't know what he's looking for, how can I ever meet his need? How can I ever be responsive to him? How can I show how much I care when I don't know what he needs or what he's looking to get? See, you're on a discovery mission. So you want to ask him that question. So he tells me what he wants to do, does my answer depend on what his answer is? No, my response, no. And he said, oh, I just want to make it extra. Great, that's awesome. Oh, I want to make money way beyond what I'm making today. Great, that's awesome. Oh, I want to replace my, great, that's awesome. He doesn't know I'm using the same words no matter what he says, because he's only going to answer one thing. He's not answering all three. He doesn't, it's like multiple choice, right? You got it? Okay, so anyway, see, it's great, that's awesome. Right? And then you ask him one more question. Okay, or well, no, follow up to that. Here's this B part to that one. You ask him, so why is it important for you? What do you see that you would use that extra cash flow for? Right? Because money means nothing. It's dirty, it's paper, right? It's just dirty paper that's been in so many people's hands, I don't even know why people handle money anymore. Right? It's just dirty paper. What means something is what you spend the money on. So you want to find out what he's going to spend the money on. Because now, wow, but you've got it. Discovery. Okay, so now I can bring that up in the conversation. And then the final question before I go over this sheet is, this is just transitioning from this one, the first one to this one. And then I say, finally I say, so John, you've told me that you want to do this, you want to do this. If I can show you a way to get all that to happen, are you willing to make the time commitment that it takes? Okay. And he goes, yeah, sure. Or he might ask, well, what kind of time commitment? He says, well, depending on how quickly you want to get there, it could be anything from a couple hours a day to full time. It just depends on how fast you want to get there. And he goes, yeah, I can find that time. Great. That's all I need. So now he's made the time commitment. So now I don't have to worry about time as an element. So then I go into the sheet and I show him building a sustainable team. So we've already built all that foundational stuff going into that. Got it? And then what do I do? My last thing, becoming a champion. That's the sign-up form. Okay, it's a great little booklet. I don't know if you guys have it, but this is we just open up the booklet and we show them, where we are with all the kids all over the world, and there's the application form. And you go, next. Okay, got it? Okay. See, fun. Keep it simple. For me to go through these three things, and I drafted a whole script for my people because they didn't know how to do it, so I drafted the script. But anyway, for me to go through these three things takes about 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Why? If you went through them, could you take an hour and a half to do that? Yes. But you don't want to do that. Because this is an information age. People are bombarded with millions of bits of information, and they don't want to sit down with you for an hour and a half. Unless they're an analyst. And then they'll ask you what kind of paper stock this is made of. No. Okay. So have a presentation down about the business that you're ready to do. And let me ask you another question. Here's the one. I always love this one. I think that the number one reason why people don't approach business builders is they don't know what they do with them once they got them. How many of you could say nod yes to that? Okay, then I'm going to ask Mandy and the Australian team to put together a training, and I'll even supply her all the materials for it. Like a 4-session training on what to do with a brand new business builder. Got it? So you'll learn the first hour, you're gonna learn, what do I do in the first week? I mean, a brand new person signs up, what do I do with them? What do I do? I don't know what to do with them, right? I don't know what to tell them, I don't know how to direct them, I don't know what to do, my gosh. Because if you don't know what to do with a business builder, how could you ever possibly find one? Do you guys understand the law of attraction? You're walking around like, oh, how many of you want more business builders in your downline? Come on, raise your hand, come on. Okay, and then I go, okay, how many of you are representing the business? Just a lot of prayer, Merri. I just believe God will bring them to me. Well, let me give you a few verses in Proverbs about the sluggard and the ants, right? Okay. Gives you the desires of your heart, but you got to take a little action. Do you know that? Action. Remember that word? Action. Okay. So we're going to go out there, we're going to do a lot of action. We're going to attract those business builders, but we'll do that course. We'll do that training on what would you do with a brand new business builder. Because when you get that down pat, you're going to be straight. You're going to be like this. You ever do this? Just trying to find them because you have all this great stuff that you want to share with them. So you're going to be scratching your fingernails. Okay, some of that. Okay, we're ready. Next. Good. Oh, looking zone. Does everybody know what this is? Okay. When you go out there and you share with somebody and they say no, what do you do next? Some of you go cry. Some of you hide under a rock. Some of you send them more information, hoping maybe they'll change their mind. I mean, some of you give up. Well, Mannatech doesn't work. What do you mean it doesn't work? What do you mean it doesn't work? Do you ever go to Manifest and see those presidentials walk across stage that can hardly speak English? I mean, I'm not talking about the Koreans and all that. I'm talking about people like from Arkansas. Sorry, Arkansas, but in Arkansas, who are like, oh yeah, well, my wife came home. She said, kind of like, I think we're going to do this, honey. So what was I to do? So I just started like following up stuff, and I'd send something out once a week, and we got there. I'm not kidding. I saw that guy on stage. I go, if he can do it, I can. Trust me, I should get a video of the guy and send it to all you guys, right? Build their confidence. Anyway, but the important thing is that no's are not really no's, and you got to understand. This was more factual. Mo Short taught me this, so you know how recent I learned this. I didn't have a problem with no's anyway, before, but this was a beautiful way of looking at a no. You know, everybody's got all these stories about no's, but still a no is a no, and you'd rather have a yes. How many would rather have a no? Raise your hand. You don't know what you do with them if they said yes. Okay. All right. So so what this is it's called the looking zone, because everybody in the world is in a looking zone from time to time. What is the looking zone? It means they're out there looking. But our lives go like this. If this is the looking zone between these two black lines, where am I right now? I'm outside of it. So if you came and approached me with the best deal on the face of the earth, what was I going to say? No, because I'm not in the looking zone. My life is perfect, or I think it is, the way it is. So I'm not looking. I don't need anything. I don't want, so I'm going to say no. But what happens to my life? Now where am I? So if you are talking to this person here and they say no, and you discard their information because they weren't interested, what have you just lost 6 months later or 8 months later? And then you go up here and no longer looking, and then guess what? I come back. And this is just evidence. It's kind of like how our lives go, right? We have ups and downs. We have things that happen. We're looking. We're not looking. I mean, I wasn't looking for network marketing, but my dad kind of directed me there because of his thing. But if you would have approached me with Mannatech 10 years earlier, assuming it was in existence, because it wasn't, I wouldn't have had any interest in the world. I was making great money. What were you going to convince me to do that for? And you'd say, well, Mary Jo, but it's such a nice thing. You get to support people and be nice to them. I go, I don't like that. I like to take their hearts out. So, I mean, there would have been an attraction for me to come into Mannatech. But I had the looking zone, didn't I? Everybody hits a looking zone. And they hit it how many times? A lot. So I'm telling you that every time you talk to somebody and they say no, you cannot take them off your contact list. They just move into a deferred list. And let me give you some suggestions on what to do with a deferred list, because this works brilliantly for me every year. So I put them on a deferred list, and guess what? Every year I do a year-end letter. Isn't this fun? I do a year-end letter. And Mandy, if you want me to send a copy of it, I'll send you a copy of it. But it's a year-end letter, and what it does is it goes, what a phenomenal year we've had, you know, a little different language each year. But I do highlights of what happened in Mannatech. And what fun we've had and how great it was, and maybe a little story about a little girl we've helped in Lubbock, Texas or something, anecdotal stuff. And I said, I know at one time, I approached you with this. If you're interested at this time, we'd love to have you join us. And guess what? I might send out 100 of those at Christmas, or right at the New Year. But every year I do that. And every January, February, I get another 3-4 associates that join my organization. Just because I never got rid of their information. Isn't that excellent?
Wonderful.
Yeah. In fact, one of my biggest business builders came from that. How do you know? But I didn't let their no shut me down. I just put them on a deferred list. Now, this doesn't mean deferred that you drop them, like navigate stuff every 2 hours. Don't abuse these people. I do it once a year. It's called the year-end letter. Because you never know when they're going to hit. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I was hitting them in the looking zone. That's what I was doing. So don't give up on them. All right? Everybody clear on that? Great. Importance of how are we doing on time? I'm probably 2 hours over. My watch tells me it's 3:30 in the morning in Dallas.
We're 8:30.
I got another 3 hours before I get up. Okay. All right, importance of consistency. Consistency is critical. And here's a couple good quotes for you. Success is neither magical nor mysterious. Success is the natural consequence of consistency applying basic fundamentals. Absolutely. Consistency is mandatory. It means, what does it mean for you guys? What's that word that starts with a D that we hate so much? Oh, discipline, he said it. Discipline. Yeah, discipline. It's about discipline, consistency. And that's a problem. Because you know what? Some people get into network marketing, and you know what? Why do they get involved in network marketing? Because it gives you time freedom, right? Like Mary Jo, I get to go to weddings, I get to go to Brazil, I get to go on mission trips, I get to go to Australia for 2 weeks, right? That's fun. But you don't get to do that day one. You follow me? When you get started in networking, you've got to get structured and disciplined and have a plan and work the plan and work the plan. You develop time freedom through network marketing. But get to success first. People who take time freedom, okay, I'm in network marketing, so I have time freedom. I say, great, how's that working for you? You're golfing every day. And not in a foursome, so you can't even prospect 3 people. You're only playing it by yourself. Good luck, sign up those rabbits. Anyway, all right, so again, discipline is critical, but consistency is crucial. Here's another, and Tony Robbins, great. In essence, if we want to direct our lives, we must take control of our consistent actions. It's not what we do once in a while that shapes our lives, but what we do consistently, right? Excellent. All right, so, and leading by example. If Mary Jo's not consistent in my behavior, how can I expect any of my downline to do it? I can't. Always recognize that. And we're going to get into leadership later, so it's good. Here's a numbers game, and I'm going to give you these data. This is from Bull, okay? Everybody understands the 4 points of action, right? The circle where it says contact, invite, present, and follow up and close, right? Those 4 things. Now that's a circle. Contact, invite, present, close. Of course, now tonight you learned there's only 3. Contact, invite, close. Forget the presentation. But we're going back. Now that's a normal cycle. I just taught you Al Schreider's way, so you have a new tool you can use. But 4 points of action. Bo's numbers is this. Notice what he says. He says STP. What does STP mean? Show the plan 15 to 20 times per business period. Okay, so come on, you guys, with the brains. How many times a week? 5 times a week is 20 in a business period, right? 5 times a week. So you're showing the plan 5 times a week. So does that mean I talk to 5 people a week, or does it mean I better talk to more than 5 people a week? More, because you're not. Some people are just going to blow you off just without it, right? Because they're going to be people. And you know what? When people blow you off, you pray for them because they're really ignorant. I'm just kidding. I used to say that. You know, when my first 6 months when I was really bad, somebody would say no to me, and I'd look at him and I go, do you get this? I said, your brain is so malfunctioning that you can't even understand the need for this product. Do you think that was effective? But it made me angry. They couldn't understand the need. Okay, but anyway, so 15 to 20 times your business period, build 4 teams. Okay, and this is a plan that will get you to presidential. If you wanted a presidential plan, this is it. Anywhere from 12 to 24 months, you'll be presidential. Those numbers show the plan 15, 20 times your business period, build 4 teams, 20 levels deep, and you'll find 3 to 5 like you. Some of you are going, I don't know if I want to find somebody like me. No, and build a calendar, work on a calendar, always work off of a calendar. Practice builds posture. Got to practice, 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 practice. That's why you can never, when you could say, well, Mary Jo, I'm nervous about this. I said, go out and do it. Anything you have fear on, what do you need to do? Do it. That's how you overcome fear. And if you're like me, I always draw a circle on a board and I say, this is perfect love. And I said, every time you have fear, take a piece of pie out of it. Because that's what Scripture tells us. It tells us that fear can't exist with love. So it takes the place of love. So if you want to live in a world of perfect love, you got to keep away from fear. There can't be any fear. My husband, when I got on the plane to come to Sydney, he goes, oh, honey, watch out, don't flash dollars around. I mean, this is an analyst. I don't even call you like smoking something or what. I don't. He goes, I'm not going to be there to protect you. And I'm going, golly, you'd think after 22 years of marriage he'd know his wife. I mean, I have no fear. I am fearless. And you know what? If somebody took my purse, I go, they needed it more than I did. Oh, amen. Right? Next. And my other favorite thing is this. I go, you know what? You're not stealing from me. You're stealing from God. Dealing with me is nothing compared to dealing with him. You got bigger fish, right? So I don't worry about it. But funny. But fear, we don't have fear. All right, so anyway, so this is just a concept. You can write these down. You can choose what you want. This is just a plan if you want to get to presidential. I'm just suggesting that this is a good plan. One guy I met at the National Convention of Professional Network Marketers, he said he got up on stage, and he probably sounds like maybe some people in the room tonight, and he held up and he went like this, and he dropped this thing. It was looked like a credit card, and that's exactly what it was, except there were like 20 more underneath it, all taped together. And he goes, this was my life. Here's all my credit cards. And they were all maxed out. He goes, I've been in network marketing for 7 years, failed at every single one. And then he put up on the screen the 12 different network marketing companies he had joined. And he goes, I just believe that it should work. Now some of you, one doesn't work and you're gone, right? So imagine this guy, 22 maxed out credit cards, 21 different network or 12 different network marketing companies in 7 years, and he was like, and then he said, and then I got a phone call from a friend. He says, you got to go talk to my mentor. So he went over to this guy's house, big plush house, and he sat down with the guy. And the guy looked at him and said, so, what's your plan? And they said, what do you mean my plan? He said, well, what do you do when you're doing network? What do you do? And the guy taught him that day that no matter what it takes, you give 3 presentations a day, no matter what it takes. So you know what he did? He went out and he did 3 presentations a day. I mean, he was asking dogs and cats to sit down. But he was laughing about that. But he said, I did 3 presentations a day. I did 3 presentations a day. He said 2 years later, I had signed up 140 some people. That's not a lot, 3 presentations a day. 140 some people. And he said, 8 of them made me a multimillionaire. You get that? You get it? 8 of them made him a multimillionaire. Signed up 143, but 8 of them made him a multimillionaire. That's what it was. So it was just the idea of the consistent. And this guy looked like he climbed out from under a rock. He showed a picture of his house he was living in. It wasn't even a house, it was like a shack. And the only way he could get into it was through the window. And that was another one of those days I looked at that and said, if he can do that, I can do that. You love these comparisons. You go, if he can do that from that shack, climbing in and out of the window, I can do it. Just a common everyday guy that you had just off the street. But you know what he did? He committed to consistent action over and over again, no matter what. Nothing was going to stop him. He was going to do it. And if there's one thing I heard over and over again at this conference was the same thing. All the people on stage, they just said, consistent action. I'm going to share it to at least 3 people a day. I'm going to share at least to do the plan 3 people a day or whatever. And everyone had a different number per day, but they all had a consistency about it. And they wouldn't stop no matter what. Now, how many in this room can say, I do that? None of us. I know. I don't have to know you to know that. But if we did it, what could we create? I'm just trying to open your eyes to what's possible if you choose to step into it. And this isn't just Bo's plan. This is like across the board. Your XFM materials that I read on the airplane. See, I did read one of them. It said host 12 XFM the first month. A brand new person signs up and it says, right? Is that right? Am I right on that? You guys, none of you are reading the materials. Okay, I'm a little bit reading. I don't even live in Australia and I'm reading your materials. Anyway, it says host 12. Why does it tell you to do that? Absolutely, because what creates momentum?
Action.
Massive action, not little action, not 1 XFM my first month. Okay, so critical to start momentum that you have. And the other critical part, this is what will be in your training that Mandy and I'll work out and put together about how to start a new business builder, is are you more or less likely to keep a business builder if they're very successful in their first month? More likely. So it's called building your first month story, right? So build the first month story. In the United States, ours looks like this. Find 4 champions, reach regional director in your first month. Earn the power bonus plus residual and packs and the team bonus for around $773. First month income, $773. That's our first month plan. And that's what we instill in our people. We sign up a brand new person, bingo, we want you to get to that. Now, does it always happen? No. But when they get 3, they're doing 10 times better than most people that start. Right? Think about it. Right? So it's not disappointing. They just keep, this is their first month goal. Let's set it and go out and do it. And they get their contact list, you do all the other things, but that's their first. You give them something that, this is what you want to strive for. This is the best, because when they have a great first month story, they don't ever quit. Because what happens to them is what do they share with their next buddy they talk to? What their first month story is. And Bo Short's first month story was he made $7. He still became a multi-millionaire, but he really didn't have any first month story. That's probably why he loves first month story. No, this is concept in the industry. You want to build a great first month story because it's the most effective and you're taking on the energy of the people. Massive action creates momentum. We already talked about that. Daily activities. The hottest plan right now going on in Mannatech. Chinese are doing it. South Africans are doing it. We're starting to adopt it a little bit in the United States. It's the 4853 plan. And I guess I can give you, Mandy, I'll give you some information on that as well. It gets a little bit more complicated than just the 4853. What these are is it's the 8 activities, it's the 4 core, which is the contact invite, the 8 activities daily, 5 nevers, and 3 powers. That's what that is. And I'll give you a breakdown of that you can pass around. But that's the plan that people are starting to adopt. South Africans are doing it and exploding down there, but they're also doing a lot of other things. And do you know Louis' website? I don't know if you want to share that with people, but it's a little complicated, but it's a neat kind of plan what they're doing down there, and it's working very effectively. I always like to see where people are really exploding. You know what? That attracts me because I want to see what they're doing. Is it something that we could do? And so I look at it to make sure. All right. Oh, here's the 458. Make a list, invitation, present, follow up, be teachable, be accountable, read, listen, attend events, consume, help others consume, and share. Never mess with other people's money, spouse, ego, do anything for the first time without checking up line. I never understand why I say never mess with someone's spouse. I don't get that. I don't get that. When they put that in there, I said, I was insulted the first time I saw it. I guess I'm just one of those old-fashioned ones that wouldn't even think about that. And that's cool, though, isn't it? And my husband, somebody said to me, he said, well, what do you think of my husband? I said, my husband would never even look at another woman. And they go, how do you know that? I said, because he's married to me. Okay, power of submission, power of unity, power of spoken word, all these things. So this is a 4853 book. Active, okay, follow-up strategies. Am I at 3 only? Holy God. Statistics on follow-up. How many of you guys do a good job of follow-up? How many people don't do a good job of follow-up? Come on, tell me. Isn't that incredible? We go out there, we spend millions of dollars on materials and all this stuff, and we get all this stuff, and we go out and share, and then we don't follow up. What stops us from following up? Fear? Or how about this? Oh, they're not going to want to do it anyway. I don't want them to say no to me. I can't handle it. I'll have a nervous breakdown if somebody says no. Then I want you to get that little button I bought for my husband, because he says no all the time. I have this button, and you press it, and it goes, no! And then you press it again, and it goes, no, 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 no! And it goes, press it again, and it goes, no, 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 no. It has like 6 different ways of saying no, and I bought it for him. It's a little red button. I think you can get it off Office Depot or something. Just so you fall in love with the word no. Okay, that doesn't offend you anymore. Okay, great, get over it. You can just say in the back of your mind, no, not out loud, because I proved that doesn't work. Their brain's not working. They don't even figure out. Okay. All right, but here's some statistics. So those of you who don't follow up can say, wow, I fit right into the statistics. Isn't this amazing? 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect. How ridiculous is that? All that work you do and you don't follow up. 25% of salespeople make a second contact and stop. 12% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts. 2% of sales are made on the first. Only 2% of sales are made on the first contact. I'm proving you wrong if you do Al Schreider's method. Okay? 3% of sales are made on the second contact, 5% third, 10% on fourth, 80% of sales are made on the fifth and 12th contact. So what does that tell you? That's going to probably take multiple contacts. So we just have to have something that's called patience. Yes, patience. Just have patience. Right? So, but you got to follow up. You want to keep a follow-up, and you want to have a great follow-up system. Importance of effective contact management system. How many of you guys have a contact management system? Great. Does it look like a recipe box, or is it done on the computer? Okay? I have a recipe box. I'm old-fashioned. Of course, I've asked everybody at Mannatech, what are you using as a contact manager, including Bo Short. Don't have one. Never used one. Don't have one. I told Al Bala, I said, if we don't get a contact management, I mean, this is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. We ought to have a contact management system for everybody. I said, so we've already supported and we've gotten 3 different kinds, so maybe eventually we'll have an adopted one. But you have to have it. If you don't have a contact management system, you're dead in the water. Because every single time, here's a clue for you. Every single time you have a meeting with somebody, if I meet you, what's your first name? Did I pick on Shirley? Every time if I meet somebody like Shirley, and every time I have any interaction with her, I never walk away without what? Having an exact time and date that we're going to talk again. Never. It's not like, okay, well, I'll follow up with you. Okay, bye. No! So when are we doing it again? I said, well, what time looks good for you? Next Thursday look good? And what time? It's 7 o'clock, afternoon, what time? Afternoon, 3? Good? Okay, Shirley, 3 o'clock next Thursday, great, I'll give you a buzz there. Thank you. Got it? Not just Thursday, not just Thursday afternoon. I want to have a specific time. Now, what's in her head? 3 o'clock Thursday afternoon. See, we're lazy. We're lazy. And people are lazy. So they go, yeah, Thursday afternoon, blow it off. So she decides to go fishing. And then I miss her phone call, and she goes, well, I wasn't sure what time on Thursday afternoon. So you follow what happens is you don't make it important enough. You've got to build importance in this. You want to make this person feel like that you'd rather die than them not start on Amber Toast. Because they're going to die if they don't. Okay. No, but you follow me? Make it important to you, because when it becomes important to you, what happens? You transfer that to them. And they go, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Okay? So, fortunes of a follow-up, and you saw the statistics, being organized is essential. So you can, why just being organized? Oh, I love this. I started working with chiropractors in the United States, and I signed up 70 chiropractors in less than 12 months. Do you like that? Well, it helped that I went to the International Chiropractic Association. I got the president to endorse Amber Toast. You think that was a good idea first? Trust me, that's the way you do it. And you get on stage at chiropractic conventions and you show the blue balls on the cell surface, that Science magazine picture that I used to show everywhere I went. Anyway, so I got in front of thousands of chiropractors. That was a blast, right? So it's good to do it. I said, what am I playing? So I go and I had to look back to see what it was. It's that jet lag's getting to me. It's probably getting to you guys too. You're going, Mary Jo, we're getting jet lagged. Aren't you a little past time? So, how is it? anyway, so the issue is this, that I go and I do teaching and training, and I said, well, yeah, last week I went to the chiropractor's office, because once I got the chiropractor signed up, what did I do? I traveled all over the United States, and I go to their office, I do a presentation for their patients, I say one-on-ones the next day, and I get 10 people signed up in one day. All their patients would get started with products, because they came and heard me speak the night before, and they all wanted one-on-one consults. Because what do we know about chiropractic patients? They think like we do. Alternative integrative health. They don't want to take drugs. That's why they're going to chiropractor, right? So anyway, so it's a perfect market, right? So I go in there, sign up 10 of their patients, get them started. And this woman in the audience, she raised her hand and she said, it happened in Iowa. Not that they're backwards in Iowa. Only in Arkansas. No, I'm kidding. we love to pick on other states. Anyway, so she raised her hand and she goes, I wouldn't want that. And I go, you wouldn't want 10 new people in one day? She goes, I wouldn't be able to handle it. And I go, wow. She goes, well, with all the work I do to help my people get started. I go, really? So how many do you think you can handle? Maybe 1 or 2 a month. And I said, maybe you and I need to talk. Because why do I want you to be organized and disciplined and have systems so that you can handle 10 new signups in one day? Because I would like to go to a different chiropractor every weekend, and I do 10 more, and 10 more, and 10 more. You follow me? So I mean, this is called momentum, and that's what you want. If you can't handle it, if you don't have a system, but if you have a system in place, now you can handle it. So prepare up front. If you sit back and go, well, Mary Jo, I'm going to wait until I have all that, you'll never get it. Why? Because you got to prepare for it now so that it's ready to be received, right? As you sow, so shall you reap. You know, it's scriptural. It's about, if we don't prepare for it, God's just not going to lay a ton on you because you can't handle it. He's never going to give you too much that you can handle. At least he tells me that in scripture. I don't know. Some days I think it's a little crazy, but that's the reality of it. So prepare with a system. That's why you need a follow-up system. You need a contact manager system. You need to be able to take those people through. One lady said, well, Mary Jo, but I call them up on the phone and I walk them through Mannatech's website. And I say, I've never done that in my life. And you're going to see why in a minute here, because I'm going to show you my follow-up system and see whether I have half the system. You need a system for prospects and a system for new signups. Prospects first, okay? If you're sending out information, this is again not doing L. Schreider's. You decide you're going to give them information, right? Or they ask for information. You send out information in a professional way within 24 hours. Why? I hate this when people do this. They go meet somebody and they go, yeah, I'd like to get more information. A week later, they still haven't reconnected. How bad is that? You know what you just told that person? I don't care about you. How rude is that? Why waste your time sharing with them or talking to them if you really don't care? When I look at somebody and he says he's interested in learning about the products, I want him on the products yesterday. Especially if he tells me about health issues and stuff. I'm like going, man, you needed to be swallowing this 6 years ago. You get it? And then I follow up and send him information a month later. He doesn't even remember who you are. Remember, information age, they're getting tons of information. And you fail to follow up. But if you follow up in 24 hours, guess what? They go, whoa. Now they think, hey, so what else are they thinking? If she presents a business opportunity, who do I want to be in business with? Somebody that's prompt and on time and cares about me and shows their intentionality, or do I want to be with somebody who forgets about me? Loses my contact information. Puts it in her back pocket, puts it through the washer. Yeah, okay? Contact in 24 to 48 hours. So I send them information, I contact, never have a contact without planning that contact right to it, and you never ask, so what do you think? That is so bad. That is so bad. So you review the material, so what do you think? That is so bad. You want to keep the relationship positive at all times. So you say, what did you like about what you saw? What did you find interesting about what you saw? And they'll find something interesting. And this will be able, you can convert somebody who is going to tell you no into a yes just by asking the question this way. You got it? You can convert a no into a yes just by asking a question. So what did you like most about what you reviewed? Right? And then focus the conversation on what? Their need. Remember, need fulfillment. Got it? Close them. People do business with people they know and trust. That's a great concept. So build trust. be true to your word. If you say you're going to follow up. You're going to say you're meet them again, you're going to meet them again. You don't ever not show up. What if you have somebody you said, okay, let's meet, and you can't make it? You call them up and you renegotiate. You go, hi, Sarah, you know what? It's an incredible crisis that came up in my life. Is it possible for us to reschedule? And you renegotiate with the person. Honor them as if they're the most important person in your life. And watch what happens. Never ask, did you want more information? Ah! When I hear somebody say that, I want to go and strangle them. You know what this is? And it's an excuse. You're trying to, because you're uncomfortable asking for the close. How many in here feel a little awkward asking for the close? Why is that? Why is it?
Fear of rejection.
Really? I think it's fear of rejection. Why are we afraid of close, asking for the close? Fear of rejection? Could be. What else could be? How about this one? I think they might think I'm just trying to make money off them. I hear that and I go, are you kidding me? Do they buy anything at a grocery store? They're making money off them. Do they buy some at Office Depot? They're making money off them. Where do they buy anything? They're making money off. I mean, how do people sell things without somebody making some money? And you know what? Trust me, guys, on the bull gambler toast, unless you're a silver presidential, you're making about $2 from them. Wow, that ought to break their bank. I mean, come on, you know, this is what you do. You're building a business, but you're also loving and you're coming from sharing from the heart. So let that one go. Fear of rejection is crazy. Fear of rejection, okay, I'd rather they die because they never got the product, so I don't have to feel the fear of rejection. Wow, put it that way and see how that makes you feel. Maybe that'll move you a little bit. I don't ever fear rejection. Maybe it's how you try to close a person. Languaging, that's part of our, okay? Languaging around closing. You gotta have the languaging around closing. I use assumptive closing. I go, okay, so we discussed this, and this. It says, how would you like to get started? Do you want to do this pack or this pack? Right? It's an assumed close. It means you're already buying it. It's just a choice of which pack you're going to get. Do you follow me? It works all the time. But it's probably easy for me because I might be a little bit more bold than some of you in the room. Do you think? Just a little bit, just a tad, yeah, right. Well, and I don't have a problem with that because if they're going to ask all these questions, I'm going to do a presentation with them. If I'm going to do all that, you know what? They're already in. The minute I start in a presentation with somebody, I go, they're in because I'm not wasting my time. Right? You get it? And if I take that attitude going into it, guess what the result is on the other side? 90% of the time, they're in. Because remember, people make decisions based on how much information? Zero. So the idea that they showed up to meet with me to have a presentation, that means they've already decided they want it. The only thing I can do is screw it up. And I have enough confidence in myself that I'm not going to do that, so we close. Okay, so don't ask if they want more information. It's your avoidance tactic in not asking for the close. And you can ask for the close, you can say, are you ready to get started? Or remember the language I used earlier when I said, so what do you see yourself as, a consumer or would you like to champion the cause with me? Right? That's another great question. Now, that's an assumption close because it doesn't give them the option of not starting at all. It only gives them which level they're going to start. So, and if they ask for more information, what are you going to ask them back?
What would you like to learn?
Wonderful. I love you guys. You're trainable. You're teachable. You really took the beginner's mind for me. Thank you. Yes, instead of going, great, I'll send you some stuff and get in the car and go home and go, stuff. Okay. Closing techniques. This is great. Learn this. Techniques. Make eye contact when you're closing somebody. Make eye contact. Smile when you talk. It's not an easy thing to do. You know, when we're talking, we know our mouth doesn't normally go up. So it's still got to practice a little bit on smiling when you talk. Because you're putting people in a right frame of mind. You're making happy, joyful. It makes people, are people more likely to say yes when they're happy? Absolutely. That's why you don't tell them their brain's not functioning. Okay. All right. So, smile when you talk. Shrug your shoulders when you ask a question. You go, so, are you ready to be a consumer or just would you like to champion the cause? And you shrug your shoulders. I learned this from an expert. I never used to shrug my shoulders, and he taught me that. And I go, okay, so I'll shrug. Okay. I'll shrug. I'll smile and shrug. So would you like to be a consumer or would you like to... Well, that's a little sexy. One shoulder. You got to do both shoulders. And don't make it look like you're getting a back rub either. So you guys need to go home tonight in front of a mirror and practice the shrug. Okay. All right, we got that down. We need practice on the shrugs. Okay. Shrug and nod. And then you say, so are you ready to get started? You notice? So are you ready to get started? What am I doing? It's all part of bodily suggestion. I'm giving you some great tips on how to get people to say yes. Because you're saying yes, 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 yes. When you're doing this with people and smiling, they can't say no. Their head doesn't work that way. They go with the flow. Yeah. Okay, great. All right. All right. What would you say when you ask a question? Listen. Oh, whenever you're in a presentation towards a closing, when you ask them a question, are you ready to get started? Are you ready to? So how do you see yourself as a consumer? Or would you like to champion the cause with me? And there's quiet. How many of you can't stand quiet? So you always start talking. Get the hammer out. Knock that one out of your head too. You don't do that anymore. The first person to talk when there's quiet is the losers. So go like this. So you go. You might just go like this and pretend to go to the bathroom or something and don't talk. Whatever you need to do, but don't talk. The first person who talks. Now that doesn't mean the other person, you're going to sign them up. I mean, they're going to sign up if they talk first. You lose if you talk first, okay? Got it? And I put the language on there. Do you see yourself as a customer helping us champion the cause? What works better for you? That's another, what works better for you? That's even a very much big touch. Okay, new customers, this is what I talked about, new customers. When you get a new customer on board, you've got to be follow up. And I have a 4-point step that I use. I have a welcome letter. And the letter goes out by mail. Excuse me? Who gets letters in the mail anymore? That's why I send them. Okay, by the mail. And in the mail, it tells them, hey, thanks for signing up. Here's the products that are coming. I outline the products they're going to get. You know how many people receive products and they don't even know what they are because they forgot when they last talked to you? Right, don't they? Wouldn't it be nice if they had a letter from you telling them what's coming? Cool, huh? So it goes out the same day they agree to sign up. I send them a letter, and it gives them a list of the products they're receiving, and I give them an article that's entitled Improving Health with Nutrition. So it's something they can read that supports them about improving health and nutrition. So it tells them, and you know what that letter says? Don't expect miracles overnight. It takes time. It has all that great stuff in there that you don't have to then explain to them. They can read it. And also in that letter, you know what's in that letter? Here you go, ready? It gives them the directions on how they can get on the website. Here's your account number, and this is how you can get to the website. So they can, and it gives them step-by-step, so I don't have to walk everybody through how to use Mannatech's website. Is that a blessing? Yeah? Okay, great. All right, second, okay, 5 days later, what do? I call in, I go, hey, Sarah, I'm just checking in. Why? How many of you had people who signed up at Mannatech and they said, you call them and you go, why did you cancel your automatic order? Well, I haven't even opened the box I got. Did you ever have that happen? Don't tell me. All it does is tell me you didn't bother following up to check on them. I follow up in 5 days because I want to make sure that automatic order goes exactly on time. If they didn't start taking them, you know what? I talk up the phone. I say, okay, you got the box in. And sometimes they don't even have a box in yet. I said, okay, I'll call you tomorrow. I want to catch it. Because when they open it, I tell them, okay, so this is what we decided to take. Here's what you put on the top of the covers, because some people like to draw how much you're supposed to take. And I get them started that day. So I want them to start that day. I don't want to, so I don't lose an order. How much time does this take me? 5 seconds, right? No, it'll take you 5 minutes. But if it's in your contact manager system, guess what? It automatically pops up. 5 days later, bingo, a call. You get it? See how cool this works? And then 2 weeks after they sign up, what else do? I call them back. What do I want to find out? If they're having a cleansing response. I want to know now. I don't want to wait till they cancel their order. I want to know now. So I call back and find out if they're having a cleansing response. And then we walk through that. And then 21 days after they start, I send them a letter that says, you are about to receive your next order. That is to support you to be consistent on the products, because you surely should be running out of the products you have. And I outline again what products are coming in, and I go, and the benefits of being on automatic order. You get 20% customer loyalty credits, so they get all that information. So they're not shocked when they get the next box in the mail. Because I have a system, I don't know about your business, but my system is like this. From day one, I started Mannatech, and it's called the automatic automatic order. In other words, I never sign up anyone who doesn't get on automatic order, ever. There's not a person I've ever signed up who doesn't get on auto order. It's called the automatic order. Because if they go, well, I don't know if I'm, and I go, oh, really? You think that drinking water for 1 month is going to make you better? And then you quit because you didn't feel a difference? I said, especially today, people, when you have this money-back guarantee, it's ludicrous for somebody not to be on automatic order because they never can lose. They never can lose. Does that make sense? So don't sell yourself short, because why, I don't want to get into why you do automatic orders, but the main reason is this, because you have to resell them all over again if you don't get them on automatic order. You follow? And then you're doing extra nonsense work that you should never have to do. All right? So how do you like that for a schedule of neat things, right? Yep.
What about an email instead of letter?
Either, yeah, I don't care. You can do either. I just start.
Directly so they can go to them.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can do the same thing. You can make it efficient that way, and today's technology probably is better. I just chose it as a letter 12 years ago, and so I guess what? Oh no, you I stick in the same group. No. Anyway, all right, but this is what you want to do. This is the kind of touches, and that doesn't mean I don't touch them afterwards, because I have a monthly Mannamail that goes out every single month. I draft a monthly Mannamail that's about health stuff, and I send it out to everybody in my organization. And it's just constant, and that's probably why I consistently hang on to people, because they love the Mannamail. They love getting them. And if they stop taking the product, I cut them off. No, I didn't. I don't really. There's still people. All right. New business builders, again, you have to have a system for new business builders. Navigate Now booklet's terrific, but we're going to work on this, okay? What you're going to do, build your first month story, and understand you got phenomenal trainings on Navigate that you can use with people, which are terrific as well. But let's go forward. Okay, leadership. I'm getting close. Leadership. All right, you guys ready? Leadership. We all want to be a leader. A leader is someone who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. Right? John Maxwell, one of the best. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you're a leader. Isn't that a great quote? John Quincy Adams. That's exactly what you want. You can look them up and use that. But those are great quotes. That's exactly, this is my, when I look at stuff like this, it inspires me. Just reading it inspires me. So transformation is critical. Just as you saw, you know, our life isn't about finding ourselves, it's about creating ourselves. And that's about that beginner's mind, and start looking at what am I going to create in my life? And I tell you that the truth of this is so mind-boggling to me. I went into transformational stuff. I went into, Clemmer's been over here, right? You guys have Clemmer, Brian Clemmer? How many people have been to some of Clemmer's stuff? Well, here's the intrigue about Clemmer to me. I was already a presidential. And I come across his book of How To's Were Enough, We All Be Skinny, Rich, and Happy. I fell in love with the book, the material. I heard it at a seminar that was done by Dennis Pequin, and I loved it. So I started buying cases of this book and teaching people and selling these books out at $8 a piece. Because when I went to this is another great story. Sorry about so many stories, people, but this is funny. This will show you lack of scarcity mentality. So I go to this seminar. Dennis Pequin taught at Manifest, and he was going through all this great self-development stuff, and I'm sitting there going, wow. I mean, it was so impactful to me, because I'd never done any of that kind of work, right? So I'm like eating up every ounce of this stuff, and I'm going, oh, this is... And at the end of the meeting, he goes, you know, a friend of mine the other day came up, and he said, you know, Dennis, I found this book, and it's got all your stuff in it. And he says, look at this book. And he held it up. And it was this book called If How To's Were Enough, We'd All Be Skinny, Rich, and Happy. And he held it up, and he said, and I read through it, and absolutely, it has all my stuff in there. And then he told us how we could order it if we wanted it or something. So he gave us a telephone number, and I'm like this walking out of the seminar, right? I'm on the phone, and I'm calling up, I'm going, hey, yeah, I'd like to order one of those books. And they go, well, $18.95. I go, $18.95? It was a skinny little book. I'm going, $18.95? I said, well, there's got to be a price break somewhere. And she said, well, you can buy this many, or you can buy this many. I said, no, I mean, how many? She goes, well, you can get a case of 100, and then they're $8 a piece. I said, send me a case of 100. I got off the phone, I just spent $800 instead of $18.95. Well, that was pretty crazy. So I started teaching and training from it. I fell in love with it, and then they called me up one day, and they said, you know, Mary Jo, you bought 2 cases of our books. We only use our books to promote our seminars. We don't sell cases of books to people. Well, you know, and they asked me, I said, I've been teaching, training out of, he said, well, we'd like you to go to one of my seminars. And I said, what am I going to learn at your silly seminar when I'm teaching your stuff? And they go, rah, 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 and I go, okay, I'll go. So I went to one of their seminars, it blew me away. I mean, I was on the phone with them like 5 times the next week, complaining about this, that, and everything, because I mean, it was like a mind-blowing experience for me, especially the red-black game. That just like, I just killed the world, right? I annihilated the world. I was like worse than a nuclear holocaust, right? I mean, I was awful. It was like, so I'm sitting there going, there's got to be something. And so I couldn't function without working through all that. And then I hosted 4 more personal masteries over the next 5 months. I went to advanced, I went to heart, I started facilitating. I took a whole group of 18 of my top leaders through all of those events together, and my business tripled in the next year, tripled. Because I made the dedication to transform me, if I can be better. And that's what leadership is about. It's about learning how, because leadership, you can lead at many levels. And I love, don't you love this quote at the bottom? What you have as a consequence of what you do will pale in comparison to who you become. And that is exclamation mark on that. So 5 levels of leadership. John Maxwell's got a great book out there. Okay, and I'm just going to run through them quick. I'm not going to go through it because I know where the time is. But defining leadership. Leadership is a process, not a position. See, we get confused on that. Some of us believe, oh, leadership is a position. Wrong. It's a process, okay? Leaders deal with people and their dynamics continually changing. The challenge of leaders is to create change and facilitate growth. Good leadership isn't about advancing yourself. It's about advancing your team. So you ask all these questions. Where does it start? What do we do first? What processes? Where do we gain influence? Well, the first level of leadership is, as Maxwell puts it, is positional. And that's what happens at like regional directors. You go out there and you work, and you become a regional director. Guess what? Now you're in a position of leadership. But what is the problem? It's just a position. It's like the guy who gets a job at the factory and he's put in as a manager, and he really is just got a name after his, he's got a title. It's called position. So people have to respect you because you happen to have a title, not because of anything else. There are a lot of people in Mannatech that are exactly that way. They got to certain leadership levels and they're downline, and they still take a bat around and they beat up on people and they devalue people and they do whatever it is because and they tout themselves, I'm a leader. And I'm going, whoa. They also become, the other thing is, what did I put up here? Enablers versus empowerers. How many of you, when you become a regional director, a national director, you know it all. So every time you bring on a new person, you know, anytime they call you on the phone, you go, boom, you always have the answers. You know what I say to my people when they call me? I said, where do you think you can find that answer? Where do you think you can find that answer? Where do you think you can find that answer? Because they can't be dependent on me. You follow me? We create dependency because it makes us feel valuable. Well, guess what? What are you doing for that person? You're robbing them of value, self-value. Do you understand? And I don't want that to be the sacrifice. I don't want to sacrifice them for the sake of my ego or something going on for me. So I want to build powerful leaders around me. So positional leaders are problematic because it's just a position. And we create all sorts of problems around that. And they tend to devalue people, no real talent to lead. They don't even understand what leadership is. Then the second level is permissive. And that's basically where you step into it and you've understood now that there's a value in building relationship with people. So I build a relationship with you and you decide, well, yeah, I can agree that she's my leader. So it's by giving me permission. But I still am exhibiting what? I'm just a better person because I'm likable. Is it important to have a relationship with your people? Of course. But it doesn't make you any greater a leader. It just gets you it's just a little bit more than positional. Now people like me because I'm nice to them, right? So that's the second level. The third level is now where you start creating results. So through your hard work and your self-discipline and all these things, now you're starting to create results in your organization, and people start, what do? It's not permissive, it's now they respect you. They start learning to respect you because they understand that you create results, right? So we start producing results. So, and there's all sorts of things in here. You can get Maxwell's book to get all this kind of stuff. But you care about them, and they do the right things the right way at the right time for the right reasons. That's your level 3 production people. Level 4 this is starting to get close. This is people that go out and they develop leaders. They empower people to lead. So they're really making people better people. So it's not just about what? Permission, and it's not just about performance or production. It's now about how do I help you be a better person? That's like Mary Jo taking 18 of her people through clever work, step at a time, step at a time, step at a time. Because why do I want to do that when these guys are specialists at it, right? And all those people to this day, when we reunite as a group, it's awesome. And half of them aren't even in Mannatech anymore. But I just reenacted, one of them left Mannatech for 4 years, and now she's back on fire. But it's part of, it's that camaraderie. And she looked at me, she goes, Mary Jo, I really, honestly, I feel so ashamed that I ever left. I mean, and I said, get rid of that word out of your vocabulary. Just, you're back in open arms, you get it? But it's cool, you build that kind of stuff, people development. And then the final level is the pinnacle, and that's where your leadership becomes a platform for something even greater. And now it's called changing the world. And I don't mean M5M, I'm talking about doing greatness all around. Making a difference all over. And people just look at you and they just say, wow, I want to be like that. And you open space for people. You become, you know, that law of attraction. You start opening space for people to step into that greatness that's really within every one of us. So leadership is critical, and leadership in Mannatech is critical because you're not going to go anywhere, or you're going to go places if you stay at the positional level or you stay at the permissive level. Those levels, you can see where it's not going to drive your business anywhere because people aren't going to be attracted to be in your organization. They're not going to see the value of it. They're not going to be growing. So that's why we have like book of the month. That's why Mary Jo does her Monday call, because I do book reviews and I help people and train all sorts of trainings. I want people to grow. So it's important for us. And always edify your people. That's important as well. Read to win. I love this. We're either green and growing or ripe and rotting. It's just your choice. And I tell people, I choose to be green and growing. And that's why I read prolifically. In fact, on the airplane that I came over here, I finished an entire book. Where's that? Did I bring it? I don't know if I brought it. It's a new Tony Jerry book. It's about business success principles. And it was so awesome. I took notes throughout the, I mean, it's all the pages. Because I forgot my notepad, so I had to write over it. You know? But I have all these ideas, and I even sent, I sent to Al Balla. I said, Al, this is what we have to do at Manifest this year. And I'm writing all this stuff. I mean, it just generated massive ideas from just reading that book. So we read all the time. We just consistently grow. If the biggest company, L'Oreal, which Yves Saint Laurent is a subdivision of L'Oreal, the biggest skincare company in the world says glycans and shows all their, I don't even know if the video, we don't need, you guys have seen this video, right? Anyway, you can get on YouTube. But I show this because it builds all the credibility. I got the best skincare company in the world telling it, and we have the glycans, right? Oh, there it is. I don't want to play it because it'll take too long. Okay, according to the world's largest clear, then I break down some of the big things that came out of the video, so I just highlight those. Key features, now I tell them about the ingredients. And of course, I don't read all this language, I just emphasize one little piece of each one. And then we go into sphere-light technology, because this is exciting. It's a new patented technology out of France. They love it. French, la français. Okay, so it's romantic. Okay, so we got that. Then we show before afters, right? See what happens. This is what's happening with our skin surface. Isn't that beautiful? I show Dr. Kassir. Why?
Credibility.
Why?
Credibility.
Credibility again. You got a doctor, a dermatologist, world-renowned, #1 in the DFW area, voted #1 dermatologist in all DFW area. And they're going to hear from the doctor behind the product. Does you get it? And then I go, who is it for? Right? Skin types. How do you use it? Do I tell them how it's used? Easy. What causes our skin to age? Give them a little education on that. Do you have a $1,000 drawer? I had no idea what this was. Any of you ladies know what this is? Yeah, stuff you bought all these years and stuff like that too. Well, you can tell. How much makeup does Mary Jo wear? Okay, I don't even have a $10 drawer. Okay, so for me it was really hard to understand a $1,000 drawer, but now I get it. People told me what it is, and people do react to it. So I put it in the presentation, and I show them the competitive cost structure. So I said, you know, youth takes over all of these. The only thing you need with youth is a cleanser. Cleanser and youth twice a day, morning, night. That's it. So I get to get rid of all that. Look at this, a total of $565. Maybe on a monthly basis I'm getting out of my budget because I'm just using cleanser and youth. And then I show them the before after. Ooh, who's that? Ooh, there she is again. That's that ugly. Oh my gosh. Oh, know, the jowls really bad. You know, so I want to show you my most fun part of it was. This was fun. Notice all this indentation here. That was all dented in. I woke up one morning, 3 weeks after I started using it, and notice how puffy that is. All filled out. I looked in the mirror, I went, oh my gosh. I called up Lydia, I said, bring your camera to work today. And she got there and I said, either my husband rolled over in his sleep and accidentally hit me with his elbow in the mouth, or this stuff is really working. So that rebuilt this whole area here, which was all dented in and all like, isn't that incredible? Amazing. And the red splotchiness and the softness of my smile. Somebody told me, you're Mary Jo, you smile all the time, you're never getting rid of your smile lines. I said, that's okay. I'll keep those because I smile all the time. But fun to see all the differences. And here's some friends of mine, Gail Davidson, remarkable differences. She's in her late 60s. Yeah, notice that. Here's Noni Kaufman. I like hers because the bags under the eye. This is big. This here to here. Like, yeah. Are you ready? That's how I close it. That's the last slide in my presentation. How do you like that for a presentation? Easy? You guys want it? We'll send it to you. We'll send it to you. You're not gonna, when does you come in here, May or something? But you can put that on an iPad, and it's really easy. Just train people. In iBooks is your presentation, and then when you hit the videos, you just go over to the video section and you pop it up, and it's real simple, back and forth. It takes me 15 to 20 minutes to do that entire presentation for somebody with both videos, and the videos are like 8 minutes in themselves. Isn't that cool? Yeah. So, great. Wait, Lydia gave you some more stuff. Youth language. Mary, have you ever looked in the mirror and felt like you were looking older? How would you like to never feel that again? They put youth in a bottle, and I picked one up for you. That's kind of cute, huh? They put youth in a bottle, and I picked one up for you. So this is just some fun language. How about this one? When you use it to look younger, you're helping a child get older. Wow. That was a good one, wasn't it? I can't take credit, that's bow shorts. You did that in Hawaii, in fact. We heard that in Hawaii. Okay, so fun language around that. Who is your market? Everywhere. Lifestyle. You remember this? I'm just curious. Are you interested in financially taking advantage of a incredible opportunity with a breakthrough natural skincare product that works? I don't know, right? People say none of that stuff works. That's kind of to do it in a... See, would you be okay if we got together for a cup of coffee to discuss how you can build a great income from this? Great. See, that's why I go in that direction instead of clothes. Spas. We have spas. We're doing incredible spas. We're doing XFMs, extreme face makeovers. Just a different F word, right? Okay. Face to face. I have one woman in San Marcos that's putting the cream on half her face when she walks around. I'd never do that. Flyers strategically placed. Contact all those who stopped ordering in your downline. Absolutely, we've done that. We've done a huge recapture. What is it called? Let's see. Reactivation. Okay, reactivation. Facebook, post pictures, and I got like 3 people in my high school class started on the products, posting on Facebook. Hairdressers, that's like taking candy from a baby. Here, let me give you the helpful hint on hairdressers. This is what you do on hairdressers. You never go up and call on hairdressers. You talk to all your friends that you have and find out who their hairdresser is and say, this is what I want to do. I'm going to bring them youth skincare. Is it okay if I contact your hairdresser? Yeah. So when you call the hairdresser, you go, hi, this is Mary Jo Hillaker. Is this Sarah? Oh, Sarah, listen. One of your clients, Joanne, told me that I should get a hold of you because there's this breakthrough skincare product and she wanted me to present it to you. Now, is she going to not see me when one of her clients recommended me to go see her? Do you get what happens? There's immediate pressure on her to say yes because she doesn't want to lose one of her clients. So you always use connections that way because you're already busted through a rapport because you have a similarity. It's one person you both know, and guess what? That person wants you. And that's what we do. And like 9 times out of 10, you'll book an appointment. If you don't do that, you probably don't have a chance. And the hairdressers, they like it quick. They want you to come in, you do the little thing, okay, and then what happened in the first hairdresser I ever went to, bing, 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 right? And at the end she said, wow, this is great, and I noticed she had kids' pictures up there. I said, you know what, you got to understand this company. I see you have 2 little girls. I said, you know what this company's about? This company has a mission called M5M. And I showed her the M5M video. That was it. Did her in. Then she said, well, what are you using for the M5M? I said, great. You know, this glycan technology, we have it in nutritional products to support the family as well. I said, what would you be interested in? Do you have any health challenges? She had allergy, food, Manna C. She had the children, Manna Bears. She wanted her husband on something, Nutrivirus. Bingo, I walked out of there, I sold more in nutritional products than I did in one tube I used youth and all the rest nutrition. Isn't that cool? But it's about, again, judgment. Why did Mary Jo choose the M5M? Because I looked around her room and I saw the picture of her family and the 2 little girls. You get it? You knew her. You gotta read these clues that clue you into. She's gonna go nuts on M5M, right? Saving children. So, right like that. So, but hairdressers, dermatologists, estheticians, politicians, if you can deal with them. Real estate brokers is a gigantic market. They're always looking for marketing stuff. Photographers, church members, half my church. Prospects off your old list, retailing, spas. It's funny too. Let me talk about my church. So I've been in this church how many years? Of course, now I'm in the choir. Anyway, so I've been in this church for how many years? And they know I do Mannatech, right? Because I've tried to get them started. And how many people bought from me on Mannatech? Not because they're a scarcity mentality. So I don't know, I might have 20. And that's not very many considering I've been at the church as many years as, or more than I've been in Mannatech. So I come in with youth, and these people are buying it like wildfire. I said, you wouldn't even consider Ambertos, but you're buying youth. It just drove me nuts. I just wanted to say, you vain person, you. Right? But you can't do that. It doesn't work. It's kind of like what I said earlier about your brain so malfunctioning. Okay, but that's how easy it is. People buy it because they're so vain. We are so vain. Retailing spas, health food stores, athletic clubs, local women's groups, image consultants, bridge club. My husband and I play bridge, and I walked in one day and I said, do you notice anything different? And this guy looked at me and said, did you get a facelift? So what was my response? In a bottle. And his wife looked and said, whoa, what's that? Guess what? Bingo, another one. Taking candy from a baby. All right. I think I closed some of those faster than Al Schreider. It was faster than 30 seconds. All right, so who's your market? Beauty Inside Out takes the science of Mannatech and puts it in before and after pictures. Somebody has used this language. You like that? The power of youth is it takes the science of Mannatech, our glycobiology, and it puts it in before and after pictures. Upsell, now that we covered our vanity, this came from Rod. He taught me this, except he used insanity. Now that we've covered our vanity issue, because they want you go, let's talk about what's happening on the inside as well. You can't see them, but imagine what your kidney, liver, and your other organs look like. They too are deteriorating with age, so this is the same glycan technology available in real food supplements. Why not experience the same results inside as well? You can't see it, but we sure can experience it. Wouldn't it be insane not to take care of your health of all your organs, right? Isn't that fun? So there's a transition for you on upsell. You just take it from one syllable to the next. But a partridge goes, well, your organs are looking like, all wrinkled up and shriveled up. Partridge has been here, right? Yeah. All right, so that's the end upsell. Oh.
More than 6 billion people in the world. And we all have one thing in common. Ever since we were kids, we've all had big, bold, and exciting dreams. We believed we could change the world. But somewhere along the way, we stopped believing. Remember dreaming of that day when you could get the keys to that great big mansion? When you could look in the mirror and feel totally alive? And that day when you could finally smile, knowing that your life is a complete success? Imagine what would happen if we all just started believing a little bit more. Imagine all the possibilities. What if there was a way to reignite your dreams? A solution exists that has the potential to change the world. A solution that has the ability to transform millions of lives. A solution that is so simple, many of us don't believe it even works. We have the ability to live out our wildest dreams. We have the ability to dramatically change our lives. And we have the ability to make the world a better place. One life at a time.
Life is perfect, I'm not trying, it's just happening.
Are you ready to live out your dreams?
And we'll stop at that. I know you recognize the music. Yeah, probably heard on Navigate. When I found this video, I went, oh no, that's Rod stuff. I said, but the content is so beautiful. So I love you guys. Know that I will have you all in my prayers, and I just know you can make this happen and live out your dreams, and we impact one life at a time. So let's go out and do it. Thanks for being here tonight.
Well, I'm sure you will all agree with me. I just want to say a huge thank you to you, Merri Jo. That was awesome training.
Yes.
Did you all enjoy that? It was brilliant. And thank you all for giving your Valentine's night. I'm sure you'd rather be here than at home. And Merri Jo, you've given your Valentine's night.
No, our Valentine's is tomorrow.
It's gone well.
And I have, are you ready? I have Lydia delivering my husband a Valentine's Day gift from the flowers. Isn't that cool?
We have a little gift for you as well.